Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Trailblazer star Damian Lillard and his agent met with GM Joe Cronin yesterday. ESPN's Brian Windhorst is reporting Lillard did not ask for a trade. He's giving Portland time to work through the process of free agency, either with trades or free agent signings. GM Joe Cronin said they do remain committed to building a winner around Dame. ESPN senior NBA writer Zach Lowe.
They're going to need to find 2, 3, 4 more contributors because right now they're young and they're a little bit thin. They have a pathway. It's a really difficult needle to thread, but they have a pathway to being a good playoff team in the Western Conference, trotting this middle road where they keep Dame and they keep most of their young guys.
Free agency starts at 6 Eastern on Friday. Blue Jays starter Alek Manoah's first game after returning to the minors did not go well. He allowed 11 runs over just 2 2/3 innings in a rookie-level Florida Complex League game today. Pitching for the FCL Blue Jays, Manoah gave up 10 hits, including 2 homers, 2 walks, against a lineup mainly most of 17 to 19-year-olds.
When you're trying to hire, all that searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed, the end-to-end hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
His team, a strike and an out away from a natty. 2 outs, runner at first. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and all is right in the world. Tigers win. Tigers win. The national championship is headed back to Baton Rouge. The dog pile begins left of the mound. And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Purple Rain, y'all. LSU, college baseball's national champions for the 7th time, and that is exactly where we will begin.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, y'all, the coronation came after the 4th inning, and it was a 5-inning victory lap in Omaha on Monday night at Charles Schwab Field. LSU beats Florida 18-4, nearly turning the exact same trick on the Gators one day after Florida pummeled LSU 24-4. It was 18 runs on 24 hits, and after that 2nd inning, it was never really in doubt. When LSU had the lead, a full bullpen, and Florida was on the ropes, void of pitching options, and the Tigers just piled it on from there, and LSU is your national champion. You know, every single LSU baseball team has pressure. Every single LSU baseball team has expectations. That is unavoidable. That is what every LSU player who chooses to wear that uniform accepts. You come to LSU knowing the history. A program that won 5 titles in 10 years, a program whose trip to Omaha feels like a birthright every June, and when you fall short of that expectation, your season is a failure. You are lost. You are forgotten. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's how it should be. It's just how it is. Every team has expectation. And the expectation is your season ends in June in Omaha with a dog pile. That is the expectation. And on top of that, this team had Dylan Cruz, the number one prospect in the country. This team had the number one transfer class in the country. You bring in Tommy White, the National Freshman of the Year. You bring in Paul Skeens, who ends up being the National Pitcher of the Year, the Dick Hauser Award winner. You had the number one freshman class in the country, a handful of guys that throw 100. You were the consensus preseason number one. A season that bore out where you had the National Pitcher of the Year, the Golden Spikes Award winner, the Dick Hauser Award winner, guys that are going to go 1-2 in the draft, depending on if Pittsburgh wants the center fielder or the freak show pitcher. Take your pick. You're not going to lose. You lose one weekend in May, and people melt. You blow a save, people lose their minds. That's the pressure of expectation. And this team, with all of the weight of that expectation, scaled the mountain, planted their flag. And they did so out of the loser's bracket in Omaha, beating the number one team in the country twice, a team that hadn't lost back-to-back games all year, and then beating the number 2 seed twice as well. Y'all, there have been so many great, not good, great LSU baseball teams that are largely forgotten because they fell short of Omaha. In 1989, Ben McDonald won the Golden Spikes Award and became the number one overall pick in the draft. They lost in Omaha. 1998, that 1998 team was probably better than the 1997 team. Probably. And they won their first 2 games in Omaha. And then the wind blew in at Rosenblatt Stadium, and they lost consecutive days to USC. Nobody talks about 98 anymore. Should have been a team that three-peated. Instead, we have forgotten them. 2013, the best LSU season. The best LSU season. 23-7 in league play. 23-7 in league play. 57-11. You know what we remember? 2 and done in Omaha. 2015, 54-12, 21-8. Junior Alex Bregman. You had Lang and Poche on the bump for you. Didn't get it done in Omaha. That's where your legacies are defined. People don't celebrate SEC championships here. It's hard to do. Very hard to do. People celebrate national championships here. And that was the massive expectation this team had. Maybe a heavier burden than any of the teams before it because of all of the talent. Because you knew you had a loaded gun this year. More so than ever before. And this team has now secured its spot in the Pantheon. And not only have they secured their spot in the Pantheon, they might just be on the top step. Because, my friends, when we look back at this team in 10 years, in 20 years, whatever context we want, we are going to look back at an LSU baseball team that won the national championship, that had only the second Golden Spikes Award winner in program history, that had the National Pitcher of the Year, that had players go 1-2 in the draft, and after Cruz and Skeens, however they're taken, we're looking at guys that are going to be future major leaguers. Trey Morgan, Jordan Thompson, Tommy White, Ty Floyd, Thatcher Hurd. All of these guys are going to be major leaguers, and there's probably many more that I didn't just name that we just don't know yet. The most talented team, the most decorated team, and they checked the final box of winning the national championship. And what a way to do it. In Omaha, against an SEC rival in Florida, the team that beat you in the championship series the last time you were there, one day after a record-setting loss in the College World Series. You fall behind early, single homer, you're down 2-0, and then you roar back. And after an atrocious College World Series, Jordan Thompson is the one that broke through and got you on the board first on an 0-2 pitch, singling the score, Braden Jobert. Thatcher Hurd, after allowing that single homer to start the game, did not allow another hit the rest of the way. What? He gave you 6 innings without allowing another hit after the first 2 hitters he faced. You won the national championship without Paul Skeens throwing a pitch in the championship series. Let me say that again slowly for everyone who said, this is just Paul Skeens and nobody else. You won the national championship series without Paul Skeens throwing a pitch. Thatcher Hurd was incredible. Ty Floyd struck out a record 17 hitters against Florida on Saturday night. Every superlative you can imagine about this team. Largest margin of victory for an LSU team in a championship game. It's all there. They checked every box, including the most important one, which allows you to give the Intimidator a makeover. And apparently that's happening already. Tigers are the national champs. We got 3 hours to talk about it. I couldn't be more fired up. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about Cruz and Skeens and their legacy. We're going to talk to guys who have been in the same position Gavin Guidry was last night. Guys who recorded the final out of a College World Series. Rick Greene did it in 91. He's with us at the bottom of this hour. Doug Thompson did it in 97. He's with us at the bottom of next hour. Yesterday, we had Lewis Coleman with us. He did it in 2009. Gordon McKernan bought himself a whole buttload of Jello shots. He's going to be with us in hour number 3. Todd Walker, a guy who to this point might actually have staked the claim as the greatest position player in LSU history, might be passing that torch to Dylan Cruz. Todd Walker's with us in hour 3. Y'all, I'm so fired up. It has been 14 years since we've gotten to do one of these shows. And 14 years at a place like LSU, where your birthright is Omaha and winning championships, 14 years is too damn long, and I'll make this prediction. It ain't going to be close to 14 more before we do it again. It's After Further Review. We're thrilled to have you aboard with us. Our Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana. Of course, our friends over at Mockler have been great sponsors and great partners of LSU athletics for years and great community members for decades. Partnered also with Folds of Honor, raising money to fund scholarships for children of our fallen servicemen and women. Few more noble endeavors than that. And this is year 13, and they have over the years donated $21 million to Folds of Honor, and we're glad to stand hand in hand with them there. Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, drink easy in Louisiana. All right, it's After Further Review. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the game itself. LSU 18, Florida 4. It's so good that it was Florida. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV, celebrating the Natty Champs. You can do it over at Pluckers with some wings, some beer, whatever sports on TV you may want to watch. College World Series is over, but the sport calendar never ends. Maybe you're a Major League Baseball fan. Remember, they've got every single game from every single team on TV every single night. You can always get by Pluckers, either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Get the menu online. If you can't get into the restaurant, no biggie. You can always get on by Pluckers, and you can, or you could Uber Eats or DoorDash. They'll deliver it to you that way. Sports Trivia Tuesday nights at the Nicholson location, hosted by our buddy Hunt Palmer at 8:30. So you can get on by, test your sports knowledge, eat wings, drink beer, have a night of it at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, delivery. Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink, or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
I think the most gratifying part of it is they were national championship people every single day of this thing. And, kind of feels like a two-year win, if that makes sense.
Jay Johnson with a bit of history in his own right, becoming the first coach to win a championship in year 2 at his school. The one maybe asterisk is Chris Lemonis at Mississippi State. Won it in year 3, but there was no College World Series in 2000, which was his second season there in Starkville. But make no mistake, year 2 for Jay Johnson. The Tigers win the national championship. That has never been done before, had never been done before until Monday night there in Omaha. I want to talk legacy for Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, and we'll delve into all that. But allow me, if you will, a bit here so we can talk about the game itself with LSU and Florida last night. And, when you win a game 18-4, so often when you spend the better part of 2 hours with really no anxiety and you're celebrating already, you forget some of the nuance of the game and how things played out. But, there's a couple of things that are so important to note. Yesterday when we got the starting lineups, we saw that Cade Beloso was going to be leading off. And in his entire career, he has never led off at LSU. So it was the final game of his career, bats leadoff. And the first pitch of the game, Jack Caglione hits him in the back. So the book on Caglione, like we talked about, was, man, his stuff is really good when he commands it, but he's liable to walk people. And the first pitch of the game, he hits Beloso in the back. And now that we know the result of the game, sometimes it's hard to put yourself in the mind frame of what it was like going into the game yesterday because there was a lot of anxiety after you lose 24-4. Naturally, there's a lot of anxiety there. You don't know if you're going to have Paul Skeens. If you do, for how long? Is Thatcher Hurd coming back on 3 days rest too soon? How effective will he be? There's all these questions. And so first pitch of the game, when Caglione hits Beloso in the back, you're like, here it goes. And then Cruz flew out to right. And remember, if this had been Sunday, the ball Dylan Cruz hit to right field would have been halfway up the bleachers. But the wind wasn't as severe on Monday, and so it was a warning track fly. And he got a lot of it, just barely missed it. And then Tommy White struck out and Trey Morgan struck out. So you leave Beloso stranded at first. Cade Beloso ended up having a really good night. But the thing that you have to give the hat tip to Jay Johnson for there is looking at the analytics that and the evidence they had available. Jack Caglione struggling against lefties, his ability to miss to the arm side, Beloso, his on-base percentage, like we talk about all the time, the hit by pitch, the walks, and Beloso's OPS is higher against lefties than it is against righties. So in a game where maybe one swing, one base runner ahead of Dylan Cruz and Tommy White is what could turn the tables, you look at it and you say, I'm going to go with that guy. And I remember this. We talked about it yesterday when we got the lineups. But in the 2009 championship game against Texas, the game 3, the deciding game, Paul Maneri did something similar. Sean Ochinko started at first base for the first time in that series, in that game, that deciding game 3. And Ochinko went 4 for 5 in that ball game. Sometimes baseball guys, coaches who are just around it, they know their team, they know the program, they know, like, sometimes they got a hunch in situations like that. They feel a guy's due, and they put him in, and it works. And that happened back in 2009 with Sean Ochinko, and it happened with Cade Beloso in the leadoff spot because, man, was that some kind of impressive to watch what unfolded from Cade Beloso in that ball game where from the leadoff spot, he went 2 for 5. He had 2 RBIs. He got hit by a pitch there at the beginning of the game, and it sort of set the tone. He was a great tone setter in situations where you had to get it. Now, you didn't get anything in the first, and so you go to the bottom of the first, and remember how this starts. How good is Thatcher Hurd going to be? Well, he gets behind Curlin, who just mashed a single into left field. And then Langford works a full count and absolutely murdered a ball over the left field wall. And just like that, you're down 2. Single, homer, 2 batters, you're down 2-0. And LSU's got action going down to the bullpen because you can't let it snowball on you. If Hurd doesn't have it, you can't wait till it's 4-0, 5-0, 6-0 because now the hole's too deep. You're not going to be able to get out of it. But what did Thatcher Hurd do? Thatcher Hurd just bared down and was incredible. He strikes out Caglione. He gets Rivera to ground out. If you remember, that was a play where Rivera got called out for running into the baseline. And it was 100% the right call. We saw the same play unfold in the Baton Rouge Regional against, I believe it was Trey Morgan. So 100% the right call on the field, and they confirmed it. As we learned, you have to be left of the chalk. You cannot be running up the baseline. You've got to be, right of the chalk. You've got to be to the right of the chalk. And then he got BT Rypel to pop out to Dylan Cruz in center. And just like that, you're out of it. And you go to the second, and that's where the Avalanche started offensively. But I thought it was so impressive for Thatcher Hurd to pitch the way he did, especially coming back after giving up the single and the homer to start the game. And LSU got rolling. And the Jack Caglione that we all thought could show up, showed up. He walked Dugas on 4 pitches to start the second. Joe Bear singled. And now you've got first and third for Jordan Thompson. And this was one of the coolest moments of the day and of the entire College World Series. Jordan Thompson stepped up to the plate with runners at first and third. He gets down 0-2, and the crowd is standing, giving him a raucous ovation, understanding how much criticism that he had fielded. 0-2, and everybody's thinking the same thing. Jordy's going to swing and miss again. But he didn't.
Dugas at third, Joe Bear at first base. 2-0 Florida leads. No outs, and the 0-2 pitch. Base hit into left field. Jordan Thompson delivers. Dugas on his way home, and they've cut the lead in half. It's 2-1. And listen Listen to Tiger fans applaud Jordan Thompson.
The release, the emotional release in that moment was incredible. Not only because you scored the run, but it was Thompson, who was 1 for 30, who had been the face and the recipient of so much criticism. I talked about it yesterday, and I don't need to run down that road again. We'll talk more about Thompson later and the comments Jay Johnson made. But for Thompson to come through in that moment, it almost felt like, okay, this is your day. Pearson, fielder's choice. Now you got first and third, 1 out. Milazzo walks. Bases are loaded. Milazzo drew a full count walk. You're making Caglione work. Milazzo walks. And then Cade Beloso came up, and the same thing happened in his second at-bat as happened in the first. Don't worry about it. He got hit by a pitch, and now all of a sudden you got a tie ball game, 2-2. And then Dylan Cruz walks, and it's 3-2. And at this point, they got to go pull Caglione. He makes it an inning and a third because just like that, Beloso hit by pitch, scores a run. Cruz walks, scores a run. Now from down 2-0 and feeling like maybe the Avalanche is coming the other way, you've come right back on them and retaken the lead, and you've chased Caglione after an inning and a third, and they bring in Fisher. And remember, this was so pivotal as well because they bring in Fisher, and Fisher's the lefty who pitched on Saturday and really handcuffed LSU until Tommy White broke through in the 8th and homered off of Fisher to tie the ball game. And for the life of me, I'm sure Sully would explain it later on why he decided to go to Fisher, but ultimately it's the decision they made. Tommy White comes up, singles against Fisher. You're up 4-2. Morgan pumps a sac fly to center. You're up 5-2. And with 2 outs, Gavin Dugas singles to put you up 6-2.
5-2 LSU leads. 2 outs, top of the second. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Dugas. Ground ball through the 6-hole. Gets by Rivera, the shortstop. Dylan Cruz coming in to score. It's now 6-2 LSU.
It could have been more. Joe Bear singled after that. Josh Jordan held Tommy White at third, almost inexplicably. And by the way, that was the difference between being up 4 and up 5, which is significant because when you're up 4, one swing can still tie you. When you're up 5, you can't get tied with they can't beat you or tie you with one swing. It was the same thing we saw in Game 2 when LSU was getting blown out. When it got to 8-3, when Florida went up 5, is when they pulled Guidry and brought in Collins and were like, okay, we're not using anybody else at this point unless if we rally. So in that moment, it felt big, but what you needed from Hurd subsequent to that was to throw up a 0. He strikes out Heyman. He gets Evans to pop out to Jordan Thompson at short, and then Shelnut strikes out looking, and just like that, boom, boom, boom. Hurd throws up a 0. You're up 6-2, and you're back in the batter's box again. Now, Tigers had an opportunity to score, to add on there. They weren't able to do it, but they did chase Fisher from the game. Slater comes in and gets Tommy White to ground out. But either way, the bottom line is Thatcher Hurd from that point was fantastic, and the game ended in the 4th inning. As much as we're going to focus on the second and the 6-run second, which was so massive to swing all the momentum, the game was over in the 4th. And I had a tweet that many of you thought might have been questionable in that moment because I tweeted in the 4th inning, pop the corks, y'all. It's over. And some of you didn't like that. But the point was, in that moment, you knew. Actually, here was my exact tweet. I said, this was at 7:43 p.m. when LSU went up 9-2. I said, pop the corks, y'all. Neely is the only arm Florida has left, and LSU has Skeens, Herring, Cooper after Hurd. The Gators might score, but LSU is far from done offensively. I didn't even point out Gavin Guidry, who was there as well, still available for LSU. And so when LSU got the 2-out rally in the 4th inning, that was the ton of bricks that broke Florida's back. You got to remember how that inning started. Morgan grounds out, Dugas fouls out. So there's 2 outs and nobody on. Joe Bear doubles, and yet again, here comes Jordan Thompson to the plate.
Joe Bear with a big lead off second, 2 outs. Slater fires the 2-0 pitch. Ground ball towards third. It takes a tough bounce over the top of Halter. Joe Bear rounding third. headed for home. He will be safe. Throwing down to second. Thompson is safe. And the Tigers make it 7-2.
How about it?
Jordan Thompson making it happen.
Jordan Thompson, who had struggled so much, comes through with the two biggest hits that allowed LSU's rally to get going. He got the first RBI and then a 2-out RBI there following Braden Jobert's double, so as not to spoil it. And then the very next batter was Josh Pearson.
Runner at second, 2 down. Top of the fourth. A 1-2 pitch to Pearson. In the air. High and deep to right field. This baby's gone! Josh Pearson! A rocket shot to right. His 4th home run of the year. A 2-run variety. And the Tigers now lead 9-2 over Florida.
And that was ball game. Because there was no Florida at this point was done with pitching. They were Caglione was out of the game, Fisher was out of the game, Slater was out of the game. After Milazzo singled, Nesbitt comes in, Beloso singles, which scored Milazzo. That was the play where Milazzo got hurt. But at this point, the game was over. Florida, even if Florida tried to have some kind of an offensive uprising, even if they tried to get off the mat, Paul Skeens was coming in. You're up 8. Even if they tried to get a rally going, Paul Skeens was coming in to stamp it out. And they were out of pitching, and LSU wasn't done scoring, and clearly they weren't, as LSU would go at 8 more runs and just bludgeon Florida 18-4 to win the national championship. What a day. It didn't take long for us to be able to exhale and just take a couple hours-long victory lap, which is carried into the day today and will certainly carry to tomorrow with the championship celebration. It is after further review, and we're glad to have you aboard with us here. I love telling you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Maybe you're heading back from Omaha and you're checking the tread on those tires. It's a great time to give our friends over at Shawbills a call, because Shawbills will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they got Shawbills locations all over South Louisiana. Started in 1968 in Morgan City, moved up to Baton Rouge, points west toward Port Allen, Lafayette. The newest location is in Laplace. 18 locations in South Louisiana. So find the location nearest you. Shop tires online. Schedule service online. The thing that they do better than anyone, though. Of course, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, but they'll always treat you like family. That's at Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, it is after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. I'm a little late here. When we come back, former Tiger great Rick Greene is going to be with us. I'm excited to talk to guys who have been on the mound to record the final out for a national championship. Yesterday, we talked to Lewis Coleman. An hour from now, we'll talk to Doug Thompson. When we come back, we'll talk to Rick Greene.
AFR.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us. That's Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Remember, with every inspection, you'll always get a free Hudco hat. The Hudco hat's crazy, man. I got one on the set right here. People love the Hudco hat. But listen, that's a fun thing to do, and we're happy to sling hats to and fro. But really what we do better than anybody at Hudco is we're local. We've been local for 20 years. Hudco was founded in Bossier by Jeff Hudson, hence Hudco, his wife Sherry. And several years ago, Tilly and Terrio brought me on board. I'm thrilled to be a part of the Hudco team. When you say do business with someone you know, you're literally talking about me. If you're going to hire a roofing company, then could you be guaranteed that that company, that person you're working with, is going to be around? You know where to find me. If 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you have an issue, call me. Email me, matt@HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Make sure you ask about Fortified at Hudco Roofing.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clash and chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here's the pitch. Swing and a ground ball to Mook. He's got it. Thank you and good night. That's it. He throws him out at first, and the Tigers are the champions of collegiate baseball.
That's how it sounded 32 years ago when Jim Hawthorne made LSU's first national championship winning call. The man on the mound is the man we're talking to now. That would be former Tiger Rick Greene. Rick, how are you, man?
I'm amazing, Matt. How are you, sir?
Again and again. Hey, how did it feel last night watching LSU break through for the first time in 14 years as a guy who was there for the first one?
Well, it doesn't seem like 14 years, if that makes any sense. Wake hadn't been there since 1955, and Florida only has one championship. But, it just feels like, even though it's not true, that we're there once every 2 or 3 years. And, every recruiting class has at least one trip to Omaha. But I got to tell you, it felt amazingly well, obviously. But, my son, I don't know if a lot of people know this, my son actually works with the team and kind of their analytics department. So he was there the whole time and got to travel with the team all year. So it was that much more special for me, for sure. That
is so cool, man. You were on the mound with the ball in your hand to record the final out in 1991. What was it? What is it like? What did Gavin Guidry experience last night?
Well, he had a bigger lead than I did, which was nice, and he also had by the way, Paul Skeen's backing him up if he hadn't happened to get into trouble. But I love the way he competes. I love the way he gave up 2 home runs in the series, but still has this inner conceit about him. And, when you're out there, and for me and for us, we had been there the year before, so we had kind of envisioned certain things. And, it's very similar to what Jay told Jordan Thompson, 2 nights ago. He's like, look, we're going to win it all tomorrow. Like, I know that's going to happen, but is there anything I can do to help you? So, as corny as it may sound, with the positive mental imaging and the exercises that we had done, I had seen that scenario in my mind hundreds of times and just felt like trust the process. Whatever Gary put down fingers wise, just start throwing. And luckily, it was our time and it was our destiny. It was our, we deserved to win it. And there was a confidence I think Guidry had last night that just said, whatever I do, I'm going to throw this ball and we're going to win this thing.
You know, the other thing, though, that's a part of it, Rick, is like when you're a part of that moment, you are immortalized. Like you can't go into a restaurant in Baton Rouge, a bar room, an office, a man cave without seeing, the front page of the newspaper posters. I mean, I've got the vision in my head of you kind of doing the flex with OJ and the guys running out to you. And we've all, under the word champions, we've all seen it a million times. We've seen the clip of the ground ball to Mook. And when you are, like, at what point did or does that set in for you that you're forever part of that moment?
Well, that summer I was supposed to go to Cape Cod, but I wound up going to summer school, and that was a pretty good summer just to hang around Baton Rouge and soak in all the accolades and all the people that were there. And I was, that was my sophomore year, so I got to experience another year of playing. For guys like Dylan and Paul and, a lot of guys that won't be there next year, they're going to, they're in infamy right now. They're just, they're etched into baseball lore, into an organization that's now number 2 with number of championships, and the parity these days, that's a big number to have 7. It's going to be tough to ever reach USC's 12, but it never gets old. The accolades start to fade, but they come back with, baseball cards being sent in the mail and people recognizing you, and that TikTok video that someone put together of all the final pitches, got sent to me about 15 times. So it never goes away. And you're right. It's one of those things where it's now etched in people's brains and lives forever. And I'm super excited and proud for the team this year to be able to experience that.
Rick Greene is with us. Of course, the 16th overall pick in the 92 draft. He closed out the 91 national championship game, a 6-3 win against Wichita State. So this is a follow-up on what you just answered, but how has Gavin Guidry's life now changed, even if it's unbeknownst to him?
Well, he wants to play shortstop, and he wants to hit, and he wants to do certain things. I think there is a certain level of pressure for the kids coming back to maintain this level of maturity and expectations and playing within yourself. And Jay has to get to work and continue to work, on recruiting, because he never stops. But, if Gavin can work on anything, it's working on humility. Not that he, is not, but when you continue this consistency, it's a matter of going to class and working hard and using the pitching lab and using all the analytics and all the things that we have at their resources to help them improve and get better every single day. So, if I were him, I would enjoy it for a certain time and, go play some summer ball somewhere. And when fall ball starts, start to work on the rest of his career and enjoy the fact that he's got that in his pocket and, can continue to work hard.
Rick, as a guy who pitched plenty out of the bullpen, let me ask a question that a lot of LSU fans are wondering today. How did this bullpen do it? How did they turn around from what they were to what they became?
So that's a great question, Matt. And I know they struggled a little bit at Auburn, and I know they struggled in the 9-inning blowout or loss to Mississippi State on Sunday, that the lead they gave up. But if you remember, in both of those series, not only were our guys walking a lot of guys, the other team walked a lot of guys too. So I knew something wasn't right. And I had this feeling, and I didn't say it publicly, but I had a feeling like, look, these guys are good, and everybody is dogging them. And apparently, if you look back, we didn't hit the ball as well as we used to. We weren't playing team baseball as much. We weren't getting guys in from third base. We weren't making timely pitches, and we weren't getting timely hitting. So the fact that the bullpen kind of blew up was exacerbated. And I said, look, these guys are not bad, and I have every belief in my body that they're going to turn it around and they're going to do well. And if you would have told me that Christian Little would pitch in the finals, but Paul Skeens would not, and we'd still win the World Series, nothing against Christian, but that is a huge, huge deal. And playing 8 games in 10 days with really like one bad game is amazing. And I'm super proud of the bullpen, the guys that stepped up. And it seems like every year, if you're going to win it all, You got to have a guy that just plays better than he's supposed to and pitches better than he's used to, and a guys that step up. And I think we had a collection of guys this year do that. And unbelievably proud of the team, but more proud of the bullpen, for obvious reasons.
Would you want to pitch to Dylan Cruz?
I wouldn't say no, but if I gave up a single, I'd consider that a win.
Okay.
But then again, if I'm facing Tommy White after that is batting .690 with him on base, then it might be better to give up a homer to Dylan and then take my chances with Tommy White. But no, fun to watch that guy. Fun to watch Tommy Tanks just make adjustments and be. I've watched him all year, and when he hits the ball the other way, where the guys are not playing him and they're shifting or they're doing certain things, and he gets real wide with 2 strikes, I sit there and say, with all the gold chains and the long hair and the eye black, this guy's a team player, and he understands the system and the way that you're supposed to do things, even when you're in a hole or even when you have to make adjustments. And I love the way he played the game, and it's obviously batting .690 with Dylan on base. He does a lot of things right. So it'll be fun to watch him next year as well, too.
He is former Tiger Rick Greene, the man who helped record the final out of the Tigers' first national championship back in 1991 when he was on the mound, the ground ball moved to Telechia, and we all got to watch the latest with Gavin Guidry strike out last night. Man, we always appreciate the time. It's great to catch up. Be well, okay?
Thanks, you, Matt. I appreciate it. Go Tigers.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. That is Rick Greene. This is After Further Review. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. By the way, Gordon is going to be with us here to start off hour number 3. I got to ask him about buying 8,000 Jello shots. Excuse me, 8,888 Jello shots. Because, of course, when you call Gordon, you're calling the 8s. 888-8888, 888-8888. We always say it, get Gordon and get it done. If you've been injured and you need representation, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for 3 decades. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And look, it's pretty clear, man. Gordon's a Tiger fan. He was there at Rocco's with the owners, hand raised in the air as he helped break the record of the most Jello shots bought at one time in the world. 8,888 Jello shots for some absurd number like 68,000 that LSU bought in total. But Gordon's a great Tiger fan and certainly enjoyed this run as well. Look, if you need an attorney, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon, get it done.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
One of the great stories of LSU winning the College World Series and the manner in which they did, of course, was Jordan Thompson, who was the source of a lot of criticism of LSU fans, as we talked about yesterday. You know my feelings. I stated it. Earlier today, I shared a clip on Twitter of Jay Johnson in the postgame. I'll share it with you here for those that maybe haven't seen it or heard the postgame. And Jay Johnson, I want to give you a little context. This is a 2-minute answer. Usually postgame press conference answers are 20 seconds, maybe 30. Like, if a coach or a player elaborates on something, they have to get something off their chest. And Jay Johnson was asked about Jordan Thompson, and listen to what he said.
Yeah, see, we go way back. I mean, way back before any of this LSU stuff. When he was a 15-year-old kid, I was trying to recruit him to Arizona as a pitcher. I mean, and I remember walking him by at a tournament. He had just picked LSU over Arizona, and he just looked and he kind of went go like this, and I shake my head, and I said, I'm still mad at you. I'm still mad at you. It's a great family. Cole Holland is high school coach at Helix High School, is a good friend of mine as well. And so, I mean, there's a lot of history there before me taking the job. As I mentioned with Dylan, knowing Jordan was here for at least a couple years, that was an appeal to it. Then last year, I mean, the guy got so many big hits, but he made so many errors at the beginning of the season. Nobody paid any attention to how important a player he was for our team. And it pissed me off a little bit, to be honest with you. It pissed me off, frankly, because we wouldn't have even been in a regional last year if it wasn't for Jordan Thompson. And then we went to work. I mean, every day, August 21st on, the first day of school, we had skill instruction with infield defense. And I'm really proud of the season that he had. And he had a tough tournament until tonight. I mean, he got way outside of himself at the plate. And but there was no way we were going to take the defense out because the defense had been so good. And then he made 2 errors yesterday, and they were really simple. I mean, he came out of his fundamentals on the double play ball by trying to do too much, and then he tried to do too much and get the guy at third base. And so if you just identify them for what they are and then coach them through it, I mean, there was never any thought of taking them out. And in the last 24 hours, just kind of, my wife's asking me, is Jordan okay? And this and that, and not really knowing all of it. And so I just brought him into my room this morning and go hey man, we're winning the national championship tonight, and you're going to do something special. But is there anything I can do to help you get to that point tonight? And he looked me in the eye and said, I'm good. And I saw tonight happen before it happened.
I love every bit of that. So I have worked in radio for 20 years. I'm about to be 41. So literally half my life, which is kind of weird and scary and put some odd perspective on things. But one thing that I've come to know that is irrefutable in covering college athletics for as long as I have is that in spite of scholarships, in spite of benefits like charter flights and nice dorm rooms or apartments and catered meals and dining halls and all that stuff, and even NIL, college athletes are still young people. The majority will never play their sport professionally or trying really damn hard to win. And I've never been okay just crapping on a college athlete. Which is why I took such a stance that I did defending Jordan Thompson. Not only because he's a great player, and I think the baseball concept of everyone crapping on the guy is completely misguided. He had a terrible offensive College World Series. There's no way around it. He did. His glove was really good until Sunday. But he's been a great player for this team for 2 years. But dogpiling on your own guy doesn't benefit anybody. He never has, never will. And how could you listen to what Jay Johnson just said and not feel great for Jordan Thompson? How can you hear the ovations last night? And if you were one of the ones dogpiling that kid, feel about as big as my thumbnail? Because if you don't, then you're the problem. Because you're an a-hole. There's no other way to say it. It's okay to be critical, and sometimes it's justified. It's never okay to be an a-hole. Good for you, Jordan Thompson. Few people I feel better for than him after last night. All right. Hour number 2 coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Not much has changed for the Trailblazers when it comes to Damian Lillard. They remain committed to building a winner around their star point guard, according to GM Joe Cronin. He said they had a great dialogue with Lillard in yesterday's meeting. Lillard did not ask for a trade, is giving the team time to work through the free agency process. If Lillard eventually asks out, he certainly won't be judged for it, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
He's past that point now in terms of the court of public opinion. Everybody's going to give you a pass to go wherever you want to go because we want to watch you play deep into the postseason. Can you imagine seeing Damian Lillard on a conference final stage, on a final stage, as good as he is under pressure? Like, what that would mean to him ultimately?
Jimmy Johnson won't race in this weekend's NASCAR Cup Street Series race following the deaths of his wife's parents in Oklahoma. The circumstances of those deaths remain under investigation. Governing body for the National Letter of Intent program announced new policies allowing athletes to back out of NIL agreements without penalty under certain circumstances. Among the changes, an athlete won't be penalized for requesting a release due to a coaching change.
Coming up Wednesday, which NFL fan base will I annoy next? Which NBA star will I put on the Lakers next? Tune in and find out on Keyshawn, J. Will, and of course Max. 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. And yet again, another sincere welcome and hello to all of you in Southwest Louisiana. Sometimes timing just works out in life. And we debuted on ESPN 103.7 and Lafayette and ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles yesterday on the day that LSU's playing for a national championship. And here we are, second show in Southwest Louisiana, celebrating a championship. First time in 14 years for LSU Baseball. What a day it is. So thank you to all of you who are finding us. Set a button, tell a friend. We got you to drive you home every single weekday right here on 103.7 in Lafayette and ESPN 104.1 in Lake Charles. Speaking of Charles, Charles Hanagriff has been in Omaha for darn near 2 weeks, and he's finding his way back to BR. Hanny, how are you?
Well, Matt, the wind is blowing in, the skies are overcast, and my flight's been delayed, so it's like it's 12 days ago.
So your flight to Omaha, you missed your connection in St. Louis, correct? And then had to go, to D.C. to Omaha?
Yep.
So
And now my flight to St. Louis is delayed again. Screw the Cardinals. And I got it's a 30-minute delay. I got a 45-minute layover. So just say a little small prayer that the gates are really close.
Okay. I'm pulling for you, man.
It's gonna be tight. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna spend the night in St. Louis.
So sorry to hear that. I'm sure Otter will have the show covered tomorrow, man. So find yourself a bar and have a cold one, man. We're all still celebrating a natty. Hey, man, you've got to do this so many times, being in Omaha to watch LSU win it. What was it like watching this one?
Because it was in the new park, and they haven't won one there yet, it was different. Certainly the post-game celebration it spilled out kind of into the street right around Charles Schwab Field. At Rosenblatt, there really wasn't anything, outside of the stadium to do. So, you had to pick up and move across town. So that was different. The fact that they beat Florida, was kind of nice because, Florida beat them back in 2017. And this team historically is going to be one where there's going to be a lot of things that we'll know just by mentioning a certain term, like the Tommy White game or the Ty Floyd game or 7 and 8. We'll know what all of those things mean. They'll go, or the bounce back from 24-4. When you say 28-2 in LSU baseball history, people that know the program know that means 97 when they won it. You say 24-4, people will remember this. They get beat by 20 runs, and come back and win the national title the next day. So it's a historical win in a lot of different ways.
What do you think will define Monday's game itself?
Thatcher Hurd, giving up the 2-run home run and composing himself to give up no more hits. LSU's offensive explosion after having a pretty, mediocre to actually below mediocre offensive series so far, going and hitting 219, and then setting the hits record, the day after Florida set the hits record. It'll go down as a redemption game for Jordan Thompson, who was struggling and had a big day. Those are the things that I'll remember about it.
Charles Hanagriff is with us, trying to find his way back to Baton Rouge. I don't know if you'll be here for the celebration tomorrow. I hope you'll be back, Hanny, by tomorrow night. But supposedly they've already got the new Intimidator printed, man. It's going to be unveiled tomorrow. Apparently they got a sign company in town that kind of helped them out with that.
I saw Cody Warsham's tweet, so that'll be interesting to see what it looks like.
I think we're all excited for it. Look, obviously today is a lot of basking in the afterglow of this championship, but very quickly the question will become turning the page. Have you given much thought to all that they will have to replace from this team to try to get back to Omaha next year?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that I have the answers. I'll tell you that we had a conversation at lunch yesterday about where we thought at this time last year what LSU baseball might look like. And it was pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you, because when the College World Series ended, we didn't know that. I had a vague idea who Paul Skeens was, but certainly didn't think that he would have maybe the most dominant season any LSU pitcher's ever had. I knew who Tommy White was because he had set the freshman record, but I didn't know he was coming to LSU. I didn't know Thatcher Hurd was coming to LSU. And even after we found out that those guys were coming back, frankly, there was, just as much thought that Paul Skeens might be a hitter and Thatcher Hurd might be the ace and Christian Little might be in the SEC rotation. And, of course, none of those things happened.
Right.
So I could give you some names in the transfer portal that I know that they're recruiting, but I don't know who they're going to get. I just know that this part of the recruiting process now has become so much more important than anything else really on the recruiting calendar. It used to be the draft. You sweated out the draft. Who are you going to get? Who are you going to lose? Now it's more about the transfer portal because, as you've seen, you can transform a team from not going to Omaha to winning a national championship with a handful of key players.
It's so true. And the other thing we also learned is, boy, it's fun watching a team transform and develop throughout the course of a season as this team did. The opening weekend rotation was Skeens, Cooper, Shores when they started the season.
Yeah.
It's Ben Napolt was your starting second baseman opening day this year. It's pretty remarkable to watch how this thing can ebb and flow and develop throughout the course of 71 games. But for LSU, it ended with a dog pile in Omaha. Hey, man, I'm going to let you run. I'm wishing you really, really good luck in catching that connection, man. We'll see you when you get back here either tonight or tomorrow.
If you monitor Twitter, there's a good chance you'll get an update if I don't make it. How's that?
Okay. At @C_Hanagriff, we're all going to be anxiously awaiting that tweet. All right, Hanny, thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, Scott, thanks.
All right, be well, Hanagriff. Boy, he has had some awful travel luck. Poor guy. It's one of those things where, what do they say, like the law of attraction? If you think about it, whatever, you manifest it. It's kind of like that with Hanny. It's like he's had so many awful travel experiences. How could you not help but just think like it's just going to keep happening to him? All right, we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson does amazing work and has at the Williamson Eye Center, not he personally, but the Williamson Eye Center for 75 years. It's incredible. 3 generations of ownership servicing the greater Baton Rouge area. I talk all the time about LASIK or whatever refractive procedure. The thing that I would really like to mention and point out, of course, is not only can you have your eye surgery there, but remember, eye care and eyewear. You want to have your annual eye exam, any of the Williamson locations, you could do it. If you wear contacts or glasses, you can buy your contacts or glasses at the Williamson Eye Center. And, of course, no matter your age or refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center can help. Call 924-2020. You want to see 2020? Do what I did. Trust Dr. Blake Williamson and the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Tuesday edition, celebrating a national championship, the 7th in LSU baseball history, and we got a ton to do. I do want to piggyback when we come back a little bit on what we talked about there with Hanny. Thatcher Hurd's development this year, but then also kind of what this roster may start to look like in 2024. We'll delve a little bit into that. We got to talk about Cruz and Skeens' legacies. Doug Thompson's with us in 20 minutes from right now on the call along with Chris Blair yesterday for the national championship. We got Gordon joining us at the top of hour number 3 to talk about Jello shots and being a great NIL ambassador for this team and moving forward through it. Todd Walker's with us an hour from right now. I mean, we are loaded up, and we got a ton to do, and glad you're here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
New Orleans Flooring and NOLAflooring.com with 2 locations. Of course, you got Metairie, the original, hence New Orleans Flooring, and you've got Airline Highway in Prairieville. It's New Orleans Flooring. I tell you every day, buy where the pros buy. Go see Terrell. Go see Big Sean over at New Orleans Flooring in Prairieville. If you're thinking about replacing the flooring in your home, it doesn't matter if it's wood or laminate or slate or tile or carpet. They've got it at New Orleans Flooring. So go to NOLAflooring.com. That's NOLAflooring.com. They had a really cool feature. If you go to the website, you'll see it if you scroll down. There's a function where you can put your room, a picture of your room there onto the app, and you can see what the flooring would look like in your room. So if you're visual like me, that's a really cool tool to use at the website. It's NOLAflooring.com. And, of course, remember, you want to save 40, 50% on the highest quality flooring, you can do it at New Orleans Flooring. Get online to NOLAflooring.com.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Yeah, I mean, that is the greatest feeling in the world. And, it's being a national champion, but it's with who we did it with. Every single guy right here and every guy in that locker room. It means everything.
Thatcher Hurd, after a brilliant performance in the national championship game, what ended up being the national championship game. Hurd allowed the first hitter he faced, Curlin singled, and then Wyatt Langford, who's going to be potentially the number 3 pick in the draft behind Cruz and Skeens, whatever order, homered. You face 2 batters, you've recorded no outs, and you're down 2-0. You can't imagine a more miserable start than that. And all Thatcher Hurd did from that point on was get you 18 outs without allowing another hit. Florida didn't get another hit until the 7th inning. It was incredible. I can't remember. Sometimes days like this and shows like this start to run together. And we've done so many shows, be it live shows or streams or post-game or pre-game or whatever. Sometimes you lose sight or track of what you said, when, and where, but you just stay consistent with the message, so it doesn't really matter where you said it. But I know throughout the course of this season, on this show, we have played this audio, which I'm going to play for you again. We have played this so many times and referenced this so many times throughout the course of the season because Thatcher Hurd was such a massive part of what LSU was doing. When they got the transfer from UCLA, we all looked and we saw the sparkling sub-2 ERA. Whenever Keith Law put out his baseball projections for next year, Thatcher Hurd, he had as the number 2 pick in the draft for next year's draft. Remember, Hurd's a sophomore. So we all looked at her and were like, just drunk on the potential of what Thatcher Hurd could be. And, of course, he was coming off a back injury, and it was very clear. It just took him a while to get back into form. But my goodness, when Thatcher Hurd is in form, he looks like he did last night after the first 2 hitters where he went 6 innings without allowing a hit in the national championship game. But this is what Jay Johnson said. And sometimes coaches can be prophetic, how they speak things into existence. Maybe they're speaking it into existence, or maybe they just have that deep level of an understanding of their team and what their team is going to be, that some of these things manifest. But this was Jay Johnson the day before LSU opened its season. The Tigers opened on Friday, February the 17th against Western Michigan. One day prior to that, Thursday, February 16th, Jay Johnson is meeting with the media, and he listed his starting rotation for opening weekend, which was Skeens, Cooper, Shores. And he was asked about Thatcher Hurd.
Thatcher Hurd kind of on the cusp? Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, a matter of fact, I'd go as far as saying for us to be the best team that we need to be, then, he needs to figure into that starting mix. If the question is, do I think he's going to start games and significant games this year, the answer is yes.
If the question is, do I think he's going to start games and start significant games, the answer is yes. There is literally none more significant than the last game to win the national championship, and Jay Johnson essentially called his shot the day before the season started. Now, there was also some not so good. In the Tennessee series, when LSU lost Game 3 on Saturday, it's when they were down 10-0 before they could even blink. Thatcher Hurd started that game. He started Game 3 and didn't record an out. 6 runs on 4 hits. He walked 2. It was awful. But Jay Johnson didn't budge off the thing he said in the preseason on that day, which was the low point. That Tennessee start for Thatcher Hurd this year was the low point. Remember, like, you won game one, dramatic Thursday night. Skeens was awesome. Skeens, Dolander. Thompson hits the double in the gap that scores 3 runs. You go out and you win game 2 to win the series, and you're going for the sweep against Tennessee, and Thatcher Hurd has the ball and doesn't record an out and gives up 6 runs without recording an out. And this is what Jay Johnson said after that game.
I mean, Ahuna's a good hitter, and got to that 3-2 spot yesterday, and he hit a fastball out. And so we tried to go change up, and he threw a pretty darn good pitch. And I'm not saying it was a ball or a strike, but he threw a pretty good pitch. So the walk there hurts. And then Dreiling is a really good player. I think he got a swing, and then Moore got a swing. And then it just, when it went bad, we got to get him to just keep it under control. I was talking to Ben McDonald about that today, and that's something he learned in the major leagues is, like, instead of giving up 4, it's a learned skill to only give up 1 right there. And he certainly has the stuff to do it. He'll probably pitch on Tuesday in some capacity, only threw 21 or 22 pitches, and we need to get him back out there, because if we're going to accomplish the things that we want to as this team, then he's got to be a part of this in a big way.
Minutes after LSU got blasted by Tennessee and Thatcher Hurd had a blow-up outing, and that was on April the 1st. Jay Johnson stuck to it. Said if we're going to be what we expect to be, he's got to be a big part of it. He knew it all along. They had to maximize Thatcher Hurd, and how good was Thatcher Hurd down the stretch? Look at his postseason. Against Oregon State, he gave you 5 innings and struck out 12. In a relief appearance against Wake Forest in the 3-2 loss, went 3 innings, 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 5. Against Wake Forest in relief of Paul Skeens in the 2-0 win, gave you 3 innings, no runs, 1 hit. And then yesterday against Florida, got the start, allowed the first 2, as we mentioned, first 2 hitters, single homer, and after that, nada. 6 innings pitched, 2 runs on those 2 hits, struck out 7, walked 2. Thatcher Hurd became massive for you, as Jay Johnson knew he needed to be and predicted he would. Sometimes coaches know their dudes, and Thatcher Hurd next year probably is in line to be your Friday night guy. He's probably in line to step up and take the ball and be first in the rotation for LSU next season. Now, we got a long way to go, and you better believe LSU is going to go hit the transfer portal, and we got to see what happens with Grant Taylor, who's coming off a torn UCL. Does Taylor sign as a draft-eligible sophomore, or does he rehab and come back and try to pitch next year for LSU and maybe become a first-round pick? I don't know. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and opening day of next season and the final game of next season, obviously. But if you had to bet on it today, who's getting the ball game 1 next year for LSU opening day, you better believe it's the guy who started the last game of the season for LSU this year. It's Thatcher Hurd. What a turnaround for him. What a progression by Thatcher Hurd. That progression is something that has to be one of the giant parts of telling the story of this season. From where Hurd started this year, a guy who wasn't in the mix, was still coming back from an injury, to the guy who became your most valuable arm behind Skeens and Floyd on this entire staff and helped pace you to a national championship and ultimately through 6 innings in the national championship game. All right. It is after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. I'm gonna knock out this break quickly because Doug Thompson's waiting on us, and he just texted me that his eyelids are getting very heavy. So Doug's back. We're glad to have Doug be able to join us for a couple of minutes. So that's going to be next here. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, of course, congratulates the Tigers. If you're going to be celebrating, you want those toasty beverages, you can certainly get them over at Rouse's. If you're going to be having any type of summertime party, or remember the 4th of July is on Tuesday. So 1 week from today, you're going to be celebrating the 4th. You need those items for the grill or the cold drinks for the family to enjoy. You can get them over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, with more than 60 Rouse's locations all over the place. I want to remind you, always download the Rouse's app. And if you want to be more convenient, Rouse's has curbside and delivery options. So you can always punch up the app, choose your items. Your personal shopper will pick them up for you and bring them out to your car when you pull up, or you can always have them delivered as well. Check out the Rouse's app. Download it today. It is Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Doug Thompson prepared to deliver perhaps the biggest pitch of his career. Here's the payoff pitch. He struck him out! Tigers win! Tigers win! And the ball game is over, and the LSU Fighting Tigers have defended their national championship. Holy cow!
That's how it sounded back in 1997 when this guy threw the final pitch of the World Series, punching LSU's fourth national title. And he got to be in the booth calling the seventh last night alongside Chris Blair and his former Tiger and our friend Doug Thompson. Duggar, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. A little tired, very, very happy to be home in Baton Rouge, and very proud to be a Tiger today.
How different is it playing as opposed to calling the final pitch?
I mean, obviously, much different, but still it's so gratifying. Look, I speak for every former LSU player, and Coach Maneri and I on the flight home were kind of talking about this. It's so unusual in Baton Rouge and around this LSU program when you first talk about former players and how much pride the guys in 1986 take and what happened last night all the way up to, of course, Kramer, Robertson, Cole Freeman, and those guys who, of course, dropped that championship series to Florida in 2017. Everyone's dialed in. Everyone's locked in. You can see it now on social media. Everybody's making their tweets and singing the praises of this team. And what's also very unique about this program is how the years tend to blend in terms of relationships. You know, how guys from the mid-'90s today are friends and play golf with guys from the 2009 team and so on and so forth. And this group of kids, I tell you, man, it's they fit right in. Their names deserve to be up there on the Mount Rushmore of LSU baseball forever, because they sure have made us all proud.
Hey, Doug, I love that y'all did this all throughout the year, where you had the In the Booth on YouTube where people could watch you and Chris call the games. And I know you think I'm going to ask you about throwing the headset down and running. I'm not. I'm actually going to ask you a different question. Because I went back and watched. Of course, look, I mean, I actually, like, literally, if you could see me, and I have, like, chill bumps on my arms right now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, baseball is a game. It's a game for everybody. But so it's like the Field of Dreams thing, right? Baseball is a game that's shared between fathers and sons. And, you know, I remember in 2017 when you and Cam were there and Crafton, Chris Blair's son. And part of what makes the College World Series, dude, I'm actually, like, literally getting, like, little tears welling in my eyes. It's maybe just
you're
being
bringing it on me too,
dude.
Matt.
Maybe it's just like being sentimental and being a dad now. But, like, you know, man, it's like I'm sitting there watching this, and there you are with your son standing right next to you, and it's like it's this whole circle of life thing. What was that like for you as a dad to have your son in the booth with you?
I'm gonna take a deep breath.
I know, man.
Father's
I gotta wear my eyes, man.
Everywhere. It was so cool to see all the young kids there with their dads. And, you know, for me, you know, being in Omaha, you know, reminds me, of course, of the great teams that I was a part of and the championships and the friendships and relationships. But it also takes me back to, you know, one of the greatest moments in my family's history as well. Everyone was so happy and excited for those couple of years that we were in Omaha. It's just such an incredible time for the family. So what I kept hoping for this week, as I took pictures like a crazy dad everywhere that we would go, is that they would, you know, at some point understand, you know, how special this time was, and then maybe one day be able to take their own son to the College World Series. But, I mean, look, I brought Cam up there at the end of 2017. He sat right there on my lap as we watched the final out. And, you know, he had tears in his eyes. He was very upset. He was only 7 years old, and he fell in love with baseball that night. I watched it happen. And, of course, my middle son's name is Caden, and he's heard that story. So the entire 11 days, he was mainly focused on, was he going to get his chance? Of course, to come sit in the press box with me, good or bad. And you know, in the ninth inning, I was able to grease the pockets and do what I had to do. Not really. They're just incredible people in Omaha, very understanding. Yeah. And that meant a lot to me. And I'm not sure it meant anything to him, but I think it will one day. So it was a great moment to be able to share with him, obviously. It was great for me yesterday and will always be great for me. But, you know, I can only hope that for my sons, they, you know, as time goes on and fades away, that trip to Omaha will be one they never forget.
Oh, so well said, man. It's like that's a great way to punctuate the conversation, but I don't want to let you go because I want to ask you more stuff. I probably should have saved that for last, but who knows? Maybe these things weave and turn. I guess I can ask you some baseball stuff. In the game itself last night, how, from a pitcher standpoint, how did Thatcher Hurd get it back on track after the single and the homer?
Well, you know, you remember those things growing up that people say, and there's a couple that stick out to me. One was you never. There's someone out there working harder than you at all times, and I always try to be that guy. And then the other thing I always heard about a pitcher was, you know, if you want to see what a pitcher's made of, don't watch him when everything's going good. Watch him when things go bad. Watch him the next batter after he gives up a home run. And I'll tell you what type of not only pitcher you're dealing with, but what type of kid you're dealing with. Is this a tough competitor or not? And Thatcher Hurd, man, I just kept thinking of that last night. He could have easily unraveled. And I was with Big George Cruz last night, late at night, and he asked me, he said, I want you to be honest with me. What did you think after that home run? I said, do you want me to really be honest with you? He said, yes. I said, I thought we were in trouble. I thought we were in trouble unless Thatcher Hurd could do exactly what he did, which is retire the next 8 batters. Then he hit a guy, walked a guy, and then he retired the next 8 batters again. Kid's an All-American in my book. LSU, again, what an incredible job Jay Johnson did going into the portal to bring those kids in. I mean, obviously Thatcher Hurd was as big a piece of this puzzle as anyone else.
Doug, I do, and Doug Thompson's our guest. He's on Twitter at DT9Tigers. Y'all give him a follow. Yesterday we had Lewis Coleman on the show. Last hour we had Rick Greene. I'm glad to have you here. All guys that were on the mound to record the final out. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked both those guys. But, I mean, you're on a poster, right, with your arms in the air in every restaurant in this town and in every bar room and everybody's man cave. And, I mean, you forever and ever when people watch highlights of LSU baseball and you go through the championships, you throw in the strikeout against Alabama, throw in your glove. And, like, it is seared into our mind's eye forever, right? So with that as the framework, that's Gavin Guidry now.
Yeah.
How did Gavin Guidry's life change last night when he threw that pitch?
It's funny. I told him after the game, I said, man, I don't know that you realize, how amazing what you just did will be for you and your family. But, I mean, that kid is full of swagger, and he's born for that type of situation. He's born for that moment. And, it's just incredible, man. The whole story is incredible. I will say this about Gavin Guidry, who I spoke with his dad right before I left Rocco's to head to that final game. And literally along this ride, for the first time ever, really, I've gotten to know all of the parents pretty well. And we all are sure of one thing, that the apple never falls that far from the tree. And this team was full. This dugout was full of championship players. But I can assure you, firsthand, that they came from championship parents. I mean, these people, from George Cruz all the way down to the kids who were injured, like Garrett Edwards, come from amazing families. I mean, that was one of my favorite things about the whole thing. I talked to those dads along the way and moms, and I would remind them, like, it doesn't get better than this. The next 3 or 4 years, they're going to be in Ames, Iowa, and Asheville, North Carolina, and Salem, Virginia, and wherever the minor leagues take them, if that's what they're going to do. And it just will never be like this again. So don't blink. Take every picture that you can. Savor every moment. And my favorite part of the whole thing was heading back to the hotel after and searching out each dad individually. Big Rodney Beloso, and of course, Braden Jobear's dad and I were teammates 25 years ago over a summer, and he's one of my favorite teammates ever, actually. But, man, that was so awesome. So awesome as a dad now to have that connection with those guys and see what they were going through, both the ups and downs. But all of it was so cool at the end to be able to hug each one of those guys and congratulate them.
Duggar, I'm going to let you go, man. I know when you come on, we love to remind people about the Louisiana Firefighters Foundation, helping create a safer community, offering training courses to current Louisiana firefighters and first responders, free training and consulting services as well to business owners, teachers, administrators. You can learn more at LouisianaFirefighters.com, LouisianaFirefighters.com. Now that you're back, after a 2-week sojourn in the Midwest, you and I can go have lunch and we can talk more about Louisiana Firefighters.
I literally was just about to say, let's go grab a bite soon. It's actually been 3 weeks. I was in Destin/Gulf Shores for Little League World Series stuff before Omaha. So yeah, I'm exhausted, man. But it's good to hear your voice. Good to be back in Baton Rouge, and go Tigers.
You're the best, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
That is Doug Thompson. Of course, check it out again, LouisianaFirefighters.com. LouisianaFirefighters.com. Doug's doing great work with their foundation, so I'm happy to promote it when he comes on here. You can check it out. LouisianaFireFightersFoundation.com is the website. If you want to check it out, you can learn more. There's contact information. There's a donate button if you want to learn more about what these brave heroes do every day to help keep our community safe. LouisianaFirefighters.com. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. we are going to have, I actually don't know. Did you prep Tigers in the Pros, Alondra?
I did prep it.
You did prep it?
Yeah.
Okay. I totally didn't even ask. It's one of those days. I did Hunt's show. I'm going on. I'll be doing 5 hours after doing a long show last night as post game, and we're just cruising on through, like the Duggar.
Well, I woke up at 4 a.m, so.
Well, I'll shut up then. I bet I went to sleep way later than you, though. I'll bet I went to sleep.
You certainly did.
And I might have had a whiskey or two last night, Alondra. Maybe, just maybe, jumped in the pool again with my clothes on. That happened. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Doesn't matter where you're listening. Maybe you're part of our new affiliates, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. Relief Windows goes all the way into Beaumont, Texas. West into Beaumont, gone up to Memphis. They've gone east into Atlanta. So really wherever you are, they'd love to help you out. It's Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. Their corporate headquarters, their showroom is on Airline Highway in Prairieville. Gorgeous. Actually, the same company that designed LSU football ops is the company that did the Relief Windows showroom, and it shows. Same colors and everything as well. So you can go check it out. Walk-ins are always welcome. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Go check them out. They'll always have an associate ready to help you out. You're going to get exceptional customer service. It's just what Brandon Holly demands. It's how they've built such a great business. High-quality products, the best customer service, great pricing. It's Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. All right, it is after further review. Part of this whole trip in Omaha, as LSU has been there now, as we continue to unpack the whole thing, winning the national championship a night ago, the silly Jello shot thing went bonkers, and LSU fans gobbled up 68,000 Jello shots. Yes, that is 50,000 more than Ole Miss's record a year ago, some 18,000. Omaha missed LSU. Let's just say that. Omaha missed LSU over these last 6 years because the Tiger fans showed up and showed out in a big way. Gordon McKernan was there. Gordon will be with us here in less than 20 minutes from right now. Excited to talk to him about the trip up. I was watching the game last night. Kim Mulkey was sitting right next to him, so they went up there together, Gordon and his family and Kim, and was a big part of the Jello shot challenge and everything. So we'll talk to Gordon coming up. And Todd Walker, former Tiger great, SEC Network. I want Todd Walker to put some context around Dylan Cruz's career for us. As a guy who left LSU as arguably the greatest position player ever to come through and may still hold that mantle until Dylan Cruz, I want Todd Walker to give us some perspective, and we'll do that coming up here in about half an hour from right now. We're glad you're with us. It's after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. I need to tell you this. The summer months are here upon us, and so many people list their home for sale during the summer. Why? Kids are out of school. Maybe it's time to relocate for that job. For whatever reason it is, if this is the time you're thinking about listing your home for sale, you need to hire a realtor. First and foremost, 73% of people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor anyway. So don't waste time with another realtor. Hire the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Hire the realtor that does daily radio ads to promote your listing. His website, your listing. It's Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com, agent225.com. Think real estate, think Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
And glad to have you hanging out with us here. We've been rock and rolling, jamming through a championship Tuesday, celebrating LSU's 7th national championship. Tigers touchdown in Baton Rouge back shortly after 1:30. The buses with a police caravan came right past our building on Government to Nicholson at Alec Box Stadium, where they were greeted by throngs of LSU fans waiting outside for the buses as they got back to Baton Rouge, which was really cool to see the fans that always come out to greet the teams when they get home, as has become customary even on football Saturdays and whatnot, but or Saturday nights after a road game. Really cool to see all the fans come and greet the Tigers. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. at Alec Box Stadium is when they'll have the championship celebration. Of course, admission is free. They will have concessions for sale, so the concession stands will be open, but admission is free. They'll have some guest speakers, and supposedly our understanding is they are going to unveil the new Intimidator. I filled in for Hunt on his show earlier today. For those listening outside of Baton Rouge, our show here locally from 1 to 3 is Hunt Palmer. And Hunt went to Omaha with his dad, a great opportunity. I know Hunt's told the story, but his dad told him years ago, the next time they go back, we're going. And so his dad had never been, so they got to go do a father-son trip, which was so cool. So anyway, traveling back, I was happy to fill in. Well, Cody Worsham, LSU's chief brand officer, joined me earlier, right after they landed, and he kind of told the story about how all of this comes together. As I asked him, you win the championship and boom, the logos go up. So you had to have them done. And he said they start working on the logos and all the designs and the social when the postseason starts. So all the way back to regional round is when their team was getting all of this stuff in place. And part of that, obviously, and then you ramp it up as they advance, but part of that, obviously, was a new design for an Intimidator. And they very quickly have turned this thing around. So the old Intimidator it is barren right now. They have taken the Intimidator down. It's a Lamar billboard with a vinyl. And I can tell you, as someone who during part of my college years worked a summer at Lamar Graphics, which at the time was up on Dallas Drive. I don't know if it's still there in North Baton Rouge, where I worked in the shipping department, where we would fold the big vinyls and then ship them all over the country to various states where billboards, but they're all printed on these giant presses in North Baton Rouge. I can tell you it would be very easy if you had the design, you just plug it in and you print the vinyl. And you bring it over and you hang it. So hanging it would be the most cumbersome part of that, but it could very easily be done in a day if you had the graphics. So it is very cool that they were able to move very quickly, and apparently the new Intimidator has already been designed, and it will be unveiled tomorrow at the championship celebration, Wednesday at the championship celebration at Alec Box Stadium at 7:30. All right, it's after further review, and we're so glad to have you aboard with us here. Let's do it. Alondra has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, the Timberwolves and Naz Reid have agreed to a 3-year, $42 million deal.
Should have stayed.
Naz went undrafted out of LSU and started on should have stayed at LSU.
Oh, that's been like a years-long running bit when all these fans kept saying that Naz Reid should have stayed and come back to LSU.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My point was, no, he shouldn't. He's an alien. He's a giant dude who's 6'10" with soft hands. They don't make many of those, and he's going to go make a lot of money playing basketball. So every time we talk about Naz Reid, I always say, yeah, should have stayed.
Yeah. Another former Tigers moving around, Landon Marceau was acquired by the Mets in a trade. The Mets get Marceau and Coleman Crowe, and the Angels will get Eduardo Escobar.
All right, Landon.
Yeah. Back on Sunday, Bregman went 1 for 5 in the Astros win over the Dodgers. He had 1 hit, 1 RBI, and a strikeout. Jake Fraley also was 1 for 5 on Sunday with 1 hit, and the Reds lost 7-6 to the Braves. Kramer Robertson went up against another Tiger, Jake Slaughter, this weekend. Robertson went 1 for 3 with 1 hit and 1 strikeout. Slaughter had a bit of a better game, 2 for 4, scored 1 run, and had a strikeout. All right. Paul Gervais.
Oh! Look at you, Alondra.
Paul Gervais pitched 2 innings this past weekend.
Pinch hitting and didn't miss a beat right there with the Cyclone.
He pitched 2 innings this past weekend, had 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. So good game for Paul Gervais. And that's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, if you are thinking about getting engaged, go where Baton Rouge is going to get engaged for more than 30 years. Not just in Baton Rouge, though. New Orleans, Lafayette, up in Shreveport. 9 locations in all. You can find the location nearest you at LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it is after further review, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. As I mentioned, Gordon McKernan is going to join us coming up after the top of the hour. The one thing that also happened last night, which has gone viral again, maybe not quite to the degree that it did prior, but Dylan Cruz, when he tripled in the 8th inning, and we all sort of thought, I thought that was going to be Dylan Cruz's last at bat, and then LSU batted around, he batted again, and then singled. But Dylan Cruz did the ring pointing gesture that at one point we saw Joe Burrow do, and obviously Angel Reese did whenever the Lady Tigers won the basketball championship, the women's basketball Final Four back in April. Well, Dylan Cruz did it. Tommy White did it. Trey Morgan did it. They've all sort of become this thing, and now you're starting to see the graphics everywhere with Joe Burrow, Angel Reese, and Dylan Cruz side by side, all doing the pointing at like the ring me gesture. After the game, Dylan Cruz was asked about the ring gesture. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I thought about it for sure. You know, I saw Joey B do it and Reese do it. So I thought I had a good moment to do it right there in the 8th inning and did it. And then I think Tommy did it and Trey. So, you know, it's going to be a good picture. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
The best pictures are the side by side of Burrow, Cruz, and Angel Reese as well, all pointing to their ring finger. And there's also maybe this is something that we could probably look at and just say that this is maybe just the legacy impact of a guy like Joe Burrow. There's another photo going. Well, it's a photo that's very reminiscent of the famous Joe Burrow photo, where he's taken by our friend Jeffrey Marks, where Joe Burrow is sitting in his uniform, leg crossed, smoking a cigar. Dylan Cruz kind of had his version of that last night as well, sitting in a chair, cigar in mouth, holding the national championship trophy. And I don't know that I have some grand takeaway other than the fact that I look back at Joe Burrow and I see the cultural significance that he continues to have. Almost like when LeBron picked the Miami Heat when he with the decision back in 2010 when he left Cleveland. LeBron, when he made his announcement, said, "I'm going to take my talents to South Beach." Prior to then, nobody ever used the phrase, "I'm going to take my talents to." Now, almost every commitment video you see with kids committing to a college, "I'm going to take my talents to." That's become part of the vernacular. Joe Burrow's cigar photo went so viral. Angel Reese with the point at the ring went so viral. I think you're just going to start to see that over and over and over, and the lineage is going to be linked to these LSU athletes. Pretty incredible. All right, hour number 3 coming up right after SportsCenter. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Remember, Traction Summer Baseball Camps. Y'all, if you need something for your son to do this summer and they play baseball, get them into the Traction Summer Baseball Camps. They have a camp every week except for next week. No camp the week of the 4th of July, but they'll resume the week after that. Full and half-day options. So you want your son to get elite baseball instruction from the best coaches and trainers in the business? Traction Baseball Summer Camps. All ages 5 and up. Check it out at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. That's how they can register. Now, maybe you're not in the market for a summer baseball camp, but your son or daughter plays a sport, or maybe it's you, and you want to reach your highest level of performance. Traction can help. They have sport-specific training, even small group training and memberships. Your son or daughter can get sport-specific training from the best trainers in the industry affordably at Traction. Go to TractionSports.com to learn more. Traction, where champions are made.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Trailblazer star Damian Lillard and his agent met with GM Joe Cronin yesterday. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reporting Lillard did not ask for a trade, is giving Portland time to work through a process in free agency, either with trades or free agent signings. Cronin said they remain committed to building a winner around Dame. ESPN senior NBA writer Zach Lowe.
They're going to need to find 2, 3, 4 more contributors because right now they're young and they're a little bit thin. They have a pathway. It's a really difficult needle to thread, but they have a pathway to being a good playoff team in the Western Conference, trotting this middle road where they keep Dame and they keep most of their young guys.
NHL Kings acquired forward Pierre-Luc Dubois from the Jets for forwards Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, and Gabriel Velarde, and a 2024 second-round pick. Dubois also agreed to an 8-year, $68 million contract. Blue Jays starter Alek Manoah's first game after returning to the minors did not go well. 11 runs, 2 2/3 innings in a rookie-level Florida Complex League game today. He was facing a lineup made up mostly of 17 to 19-year-olds.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. Nope. Alondra Villarreal. My bad. G, come on in. Come on in. Gordon. I thought we were going to have Gordon on the phone. He's here. Gordon McKernan is here with us. I need to get you a microphone, though. We're live. Well, just come on in, man. Let's get you over here. Paul's going to get you a microphone. We're literally already live. How are you, man? Great to see you. He's going to get you a microphone. Gordon has made it back. You don't have a chair, so I'll stand too. Nope. We're standing. You're standing. I'm standing. There's no way I could let you tower over me while I sit in a chair. It wouldn't look great on TV. Gordon's in studio with us, back from Omaha. Excited about that. While Paul grabs his microphone, I'm going to fill for like 30 seconds here. So there's all right, Paulie, if you wouldn't mind. Paul, the man behind the camera, is now going to be on camera as he puts the microphone in here. My apologies for this. So Tigers win the national championship. They blast Florida 18-4. What a magnificent job by Jay Johnson and the Tigers. A team that, as we opened up today, I said I'm not sure that any LSU baseball team had as much. Every LSU baseball team has expectation. They all have the burden of expectation. It's part of being an LSU baseball player. I'm not sure any team had the amount of pressure expectation as this one did, considering all the talent. Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, a Dick Hauser Award, National Pitcher of the Year, Golden Spikes, #1 transfer class, #1 freshman class, consensus preseason #1 team in America. All of the pressure and expectation, it had to end this way, and for them to come out of the losers bracket and do it was pretty remarkable. How are you, sir?
I'm a little tired today, to be honest with you. My voice and everything, a lot.
I would imagine so. I'm not going to bury the lead here, so I'm going to start with the video of you at Rocco's.
Oh,
no, you know what we're talking about here. Here you are at Rocco's with I don't know what would you buy 8,000 Jello shots?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get you closer.
Okay.
You're good.
Yep.
All right. So what? Why? Just go.
Well,
lots of Jello shots.
Yeah. So good friend Todd Graves, we all know he's a master of many talents, and he's good at loving the Tigers, and he's good at marketing. And when he did the first challenge, I reached out to him and just said, well played. And we went back and forth for a few days, and I got an idea. I said, hey, why don't we bust this record where no one ever can approach it? And we kind of went back a little bit forth on that. And they said, look, my buddy Shane Morrison, good friend, I think he's going to break my record anyway and go 6,001. He's going to do that. So why don't you beat him and go 6,002? So we had a little fun with that. And I said, no, I think I'll go a little higher than that. I have a different number in mind.
Well, the phone number, of course, 888-8888,
Right.
hence the 8's why you bought
That's right.
8,888
shots. Yeah. So we talked about it leading up, and I kind of left it alone. And I was out in Colorado at the time on just vacation out there with my brother-in-law, Mark Field, who's a team doctor, who had to leave the seats during the game to go down to, attend to the injury.
Alex, yeah.
Yeah. So as we're coming in that day, I started getting ideas. I said, what about if I bought the billboards around the stadium? Called my marketing department, can we get the digital boards? Well, there's none close. So I said, all right, I won't do anything. But sitting there watching that game, and we just seemed flat, right? We were getting beat so bad. I looked at my wife and I said, I think I want to do something. I don't know. I think I want to go buy those shots. I think I want to do a big number. And she's more conservative, and she goes, no, don't do it. I get my marketing department on the line. One of my daughters in the marketing department. There's people saying, yeah, you got to do it. No, don't do it. I kept watching the game about the 18th. I said, I'm done. I'm going across the street, and I'm going to buy 8,888 shots. I called my controller, said, make sure the money's in the account. We're doing it. We're paying it this afternoon. Let's roll. Went in there and did it. And I said, let's announce it tomorrow. And kind of went from there.
So the idea, the genesis was before, but really what pushed you over the edge was watching LSU lose.
Yeah.
You're like, let's inject some life.
We need a rally. We need something. Someone came up with the word, we need rally shots.
Rally shots.
And I said, I love it. Rally shots.
So my real question is, who took the 8,000 shots? There's not 8,000 people in Rocco's.
Oh, there's if you do one person, 11, 10 shots a person, I mean, they were going. I mean, I went back there last night late, and I said, are y'all out of shots? Just after, being in the stadium watching the celebration, go, we're down to a few hundred. I said, well, I guess I need to buy some more.
Oh, geez.
And I said, what about if we just do like 1,200, get over 10,000? They go, we'd love to take your money, but the liquor board is on our 1 yard line since you bought those 8,880. They want us to account where the shots went. How do we know who they went to? And I said, so really we can't do it? And I said, well, okay. Well, how much would 1,200 shots cost? They said about 10,000. I said, why don't we open a $10,000 bar tab and just buy $10,000 worth of drinks and celebrate more? And they said, same thing. We can't do it. So we tried to get around it just to have a little more fun. But I thought it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people took notice of it.
It was incredible to see. And you know what, Gore, like you're a master marketing guy. I mean, you and I have talked about this before,
right.
But like, it's so bizarre how this little place next to the stadium has turned this Jello shot thing into a thing people care about.
Oh.
Like, how did they make this a thing people care about?
I don't know. I met the owner last night, and good guy, big guy, kind of just what you think about running a bar.
Called Rocco's?
Yeah, and I said...
Was it Rocco?
No, his name was Kevin. Okay. His last name may be Rocco.
Got it.
I said, Kevin, what percentage of your revenue comes in this 12 days? And he said 42% last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's important to him.
42%.
He said, we'll probably have to pay a fine, since what you've done, some others, but it's worth 42% of our revenue, 12 days.
Why would they have to pay a fine?
Because they can't account for all the shots and to which patrons and how you're doing it. They said they're going to have to pay a fine of some sort.
Oh, man, that's incredible. It's an incredible thing. And by the way, like, the way it works is that Rocco's does donate
proceeds,
portions of the proceeds to food banks. Is
that
how it goes?
Yeah, they're going to actually come down here in the fall. I think Todd, myself, Shane will work with them somehow. They want to present a check to the local food bank down here, and we're going to try to set it up for a football game and have them come down. Good people up there.
So the Rocco's people get to come and
that's right.
You see what it's really like down here.
That is right.
And then I saw you actually bought the whole crew there Raising Cane's.
Yeah, we did that.
My thought on this was you probably did that just sort of as a peace offering with Todd because you beat his record.
You never want to poke the bear, right? A man's got to know his limitations, as Josie Wales once said. And like Todd Graves, a good friend, and never want to poke the bear.
Gordon McKernan is with us here in studio. Of course, he's on all the social media at GetGordon. Follow him there. Bought 8,888 Jello shots at the College World Series. Do you think anybody will ever approach 68,000 Jello shots?
Oh, I think it could happen. I think if we go back next year or in the following year, records are meant to be broken. As we said in our announcement, there's no way that I wouldn't go back and not buy more than 8,888. It's just you have to. You can't get. There's no way Todd is going to let me ever beat him again.
Go buy 8,888 each day you're there.
That's right, or something like that.
So you stay on the 8s.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Something like that.
So you were at, by the way, Kim Mulkey was all over the broadcast last night, and that you and your wife were there, or maybe she was sitting with you all.
No, she was. My wife, my son, and Kim we came up together and we sat together.
Very cool. So watching the game yesterday, there with Kim. Kim knows baseball, obviously. I mean,
she knows a lot better than I do. She knows baseball.
She's amazing. I mean,
she's
who she is. We all know that. So, what was it? I mean, give me a perspective of what it was like to be there to watch LSU win the Natty.
First with Kim, it's just the amount of people that want her attention, that want to be in a selfie with her, just talk to her, shake her hand, tell a story, get an autograph. It is all day long. The Rocco people lent their security team to us because me, Kim, my family, extended family, and we were being swarmed. And I said, take care of her. Just get around Kim, protect her. And so they actually kind of sheltered us through the crowd to get over to the stadium. And then during the stadium, I said, John Gordon, my son, you sit over here, try to keep people away. We tried to put up a fence around her.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing. And to listen to her baseball knowledge was interesting during the game. But, yeah, just to back within 3 months, 2 natties, kind of blowouts, and just that enthusiasm and intensity and passion. It'd been a while since I'd been to Omaha, and it was well worth it.
First time at the new stadium?
First time in the new stadium.
What did you think?
I probably prefer the old stadium, some of the character of it, but this one was grand, much better in that perspective, more people. But the old one had a sentimental feel.
Yeah. Paul, can you put that back up? So here, by the way, this is what many of you probably saw on TV last night. So it's Kim, of course, and Gordon's right next to Kim.
Oh yeah.
So here, like with your family right there. This is on the official NCAA College World Series. This photo's on the official NCAA College World Series website. So congrats, you made the College World Series website.
My wife finally made a picture of one of these. Usually she's looking the wrong way, but we got about a half of her face.
They took half of her face in the picture.
I know.
Like, they screwed up.
They should have had They should have all of her. Yeah, all of her, none of me. She's a lot better. But Kim's a delight.
Thoughts on football season coming up?
Well, it sure does seem to put a little bit of pressure on BK.
Do you believe? I mean, my take is, because everyone's asked that, right? Year two. My take is there's always pressure on.
There is.
You're making $100 million. There's always going to be pressure.
There's probably a little bit more. You got to figure both those other coaches, Woody's hires year two. It just seems natural that everybody, okay, well, BK, you're up next, right? Yeah. And football's a little harder, but I would think it shortens the time frame because that lady's going to win again. She's going to win again, and it's going to be soon. Next year, following year, and it looks like Jay. My brother-in-law Mark talks about his baseball intellect and how nerd-driven. He's like a baseball nerd.
Jay or Mark is?
Mark Jay is.
That Jay's a baseball nerd.
Just around, just so intense. Lives it, breathes it every day. And you got to figure. And I said, well, obviously he can recruit. Because yes, he can recruit. So you got to figure he's not going to be long for that back to that stage. It's got to raise the pressure. It just does.
They are set up really nicely.
They are.
Over there on Nicholson Drive right
They
now.
are.
Gordon McKernan, of course, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You always go to Gordon Gives as well. I love talking about Gordon Gives. I mean, all the charitable stuff that you do is awesome. And every season, it seems like your marketing people are always telling me about the next charitable thing that you're doing, which is so cool. And it's one of the great things that I've really enjoyed about our partnership has been able to get to not only get to know you, but let other people get to know the guy who's always on TV and radio and billboards and everything all the time. So it's good to know you like to have some fun, too. Do some Jello shots. You want to know how to make a lot of fans? Buy everybody booze at the College World Series.
It has been a long time since I've done a Jello shot. I could promise you that. And I can tell you that the gold were better than the purple. I can tell you that last night. And the red were pretty good as well.
Well, you know what I did? I sat on my back patio last night, and I don't know if you're a whiskey guy, but here's me. Whiskey nerding out. I actually finished off a bottle of Van Winkle 12-year Lot B, and
that's a good one.
I said I'm just going to drink it straight from the bottle.
Oh, that's so good.
I literally just drank it straight. I had probably had about 6 ounces left in it, and so I cashed it out, drinking straight from the bottle, man. At that point, you're celebrating a natty. Go make a memory. You know what I mean?
That is a memory.
If I can't be drinking Jello shots at Rocco's, I might as well drink a 12-year Lot B on my back patio. Hey, man, thanks for coming in.
Glad
it's always
to be
great
here.
to see you.
Yep.
That is Gordon McKernan. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. All right, it's after further review. Todd Walker joins us next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Now, you just saw the photo of me on my back patio. One thing that you would not see as me swatting away mosquitoes. The reason, honest to goodness true story, is Clegg sells a product called the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. Now, I got a pool and water behind my house as well, and I don't have mosquitoes. There's no mosquito abatement treatment, no spraying, no nothing. It's just the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. It's about the size of a track baton. It's got little granules in it. You take the top off, fill it with water, shake it, hang on your property line. You're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's $24.99. They got it at Clegg's. You don't need to remember the name of it. Just walk in and go, hey, what's the mosquito thing that Moscona always talks about? They'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the Aeon Mosquito Barrier at Clegg's Nursery. Of course.
No spray, you're saying?
Zero spray. And
I may have to, because I'm out back at our pool area, and all of a sudden the spray comes, it gets in your mouth, and everybody runs, and I may have to look at that. I didn't know that.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
You know, part of LSU's national championship was a weekend coronation for Dylan Cruz, where he won the Golden Spikes, of course, national championship, 2-time SEC Player of the Year, and some may think is the greatest position player ever to come through LSU. The guy that, in my opinion, has always carried that banner is the guy we're about to talk to, the Batman himself, Todd Walker, SEC Network, and good enough to join us. T-Dub, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
Great, man. What's happening?
Man, hey, take the SEC Network analyst hat off for a minute and put former LSU player hat on. What was it like for you just personally, like as a former player who got to do that for the Tigers, watching LSU win another natty?
Oh, man, it's pretty cool. Second all time now with 7. I think, USCS 12 and Texas, they were deadlocked with Texas with 6 national championships. That speaks for itself. I mean, but just watching it from from an alumni, former Tiger, love purple and gold, it was just really, really cool to see. Not that they did it, Matt, necessarily, but how they did it was incredible. If you would have told me they had to go through the losers bracket with all the pitching it would have required and all it would have taken, and Paul Skeens could only throw twice, I mean, that's less than 1% for me, and they got it done.
When you and I talked before the College World Series, I remember we talked a little bit about how they'd set up pitching, and you had talked about the possibility of like how they would could potentially structure to use him 3 times, and it was what played out, Todd. I mean, it was the possibility of him pitching on if necessary, Wednesday in the championship series. Were you surprised yesterday that they never went to him?
We talked to him after the game. He said if they were only up by 4 or 5 runs, he would have gone in the game or less. But, it was such a blowout at that point. It didn't even seem – it almost seemed anticlimactic to throw him out there for a swan song. We thought he'd throw him out there with 2 outs in the 9th just to kind of get the crowd going. But, again, they were up by so much, it just didn't even seem like it was worth it. And he would have pitched, though. He said himself, had his cleats on. He was out in the bullpen for a lot of that game yesterday. But once it got out of hand, he took it down.
It was incredible. I thought he would be out there for the 9th to record the final outs. I did. That's what I thought that they were planning for that sort of scene, that forever kind of scene, to have Skeens on the mound to get the final out. But clearly they didn't need it. When you were sitting there watching the game and when Langford homered, so single homer to start the game, what were you thinking in that moment?
And they sat on those 2 hits for 6 innings. It was crazy. We looked up whatever it was, 5th or 6th inning, Dari Noka and I, and we go, bro, they got 2 hits. And that was the first 2 hitters of the game. So Wyatt Langford goes deep. Second hitter of the game, I'm thinking Thatcher Hurd has got the greatest moxie ever, or we're about to get crushed. And it turned out to be the first thing. I mean, LSU pinned 6 on them in the top of the 2nd, which helped. But Thatcher Hurd got out there and did his thing, man. And I'm proud of the kid, all he's been through this year. I've said it a couple times this year. I felt like the season would come down to him. And it did in a certain degree. And he showed up. And, that's what you need. You need guys showing up. And the whole pitching staff did. I mean, I think they had the lowest ERA in the College World Series. And that's why they won.
Well, I know they did going into the 24-4 game. I candidly didn't punch any numbers or crunch any numbers after that, so I don't know what happened. But yes, I mean, they were magnificent until, we all know why it unfolded the way it did. I want to ask you about Jordan Thompson as well, a guy who's been so important to this program, but fought it, man. I mean, this anybody that's ever played the game, you're going to have a slump. His came just unfortunately on the biggest stage at the worst time. Todd, put us into that mindset. Like when you're on that stage, and if you are having those types of struggles, what that's like for a guy like Jordan.
It's hard to play up the middle and also hit and go through a slump because you're going to get a handful of plays up the middle every game. I played third a lot too, and we went games without me even touching the baseball. So you can kind of hide over there at third, and swing the bat. First base, I mean, you're going to get the ball thrown to you. A lot of them is fairly easy. But catcher, second base, shortstop, center field, you're going to get a lot of plays. And if you're struggling offensively, it clearly can eventually affect you defensively. I think that's the sole reason you saw what happened to Jordan Thompson in Sunday's game. But that being said, what he did is almost impossible to do in a short period of time on that stage, and that is recover and get the base hit. Me and Dari were sitting there going, man, if he gets a base hit right here, everybody will forget about everything. Sure enough, he rips that ball to left field. And then you hear the chant, Jordan Thompson in the stands, which is easier to do at that point when I think they had a 7-8 run lead.
Yeah.
But really cool to hear and see that the fans backed him. As I don't get on Twitter, I don't read any of that stuff, but I heard he was getting ripped pretty good. And for him to recover like that in one day in the biggest moment of his life was pretty cool.
Todd Walker is our guest. I can't believe I didn't ask you this sooner because we've seen this ever since the SEC tournament, but Jordan and Gavin switching positions. Obviously, Gavin's had the shoulder injury, and so they were trying to limit the number of times he would have to throw in a game. But how difficult is that, Todd, in the middle of an inning to keep swapping positions?
It is, and Jordan has some experience over there. Remember last year they put him over there. He was going to play second base, and I want to say it was Gavin, but whoever they put at short, it was more of a permanent move last year. And so this year they were doing it on left-handed hitters, and I thought they were doing it so Jordan Thompson could get in deep right or short right center field, but he was playing a normal second base position. So you take ground balls and you practice that, but not as much as you probably should, especially when Jordan Thompson's really the shortstop. And so that was a little strange at times. I think there was a misplay for Jordan at second base, whatever game that was. And I blame that strictly on just not enough practice at that exact position and that exact angle. Because even though the throw's a little shorter from the right side, you've got to do it enough to feel comfortable in a game to do it. And I just don't feel like that's why I don't like the shift at all. Anyway, is because you don't do enough practicing. When I'd go out in the right field, our shift was I'd just move backwards. Shortstop never came to my side, and then I went to short. But I would just move back into short right field. I never, not once, practiced a throw from like short right field to first base. Never. But we'd shift in it. And so I know that that's the case. If they do it, it's very small and little, and I just don't love the shift for that reason.
He's on Twitter at Todd Walker 12, SEC Network, LSU legend, 1993 national champion. The way we led in was talking about Dylan, and look, I mean, there's a rarefied air of the greatest position players ever at LSU. I mean, you're in, if not on top of that list, Todd. So Dylan Cruz, now that it's all said and done for him, and he'll be the first or second pick in the draft, and he won the Golden Spikes and all that stuff. Where does his career, when you start putting it into context of all the greats that have come through LSU, where is Dylan Cruz?
It's not for me to decide between he and I. I'm pretty proud of my 1993 season, but he was pretty awesome, and it was fun to watch. I do know that. And when he was hitting 500, you had a thought, could he hit 500 for the entire year? And so that made it worth watching in itself, and to win the Golden Spike and to be a national champion and to play center field the way he does. He just glides at the ball, which is fun to watch. And then about to make $8 to $10 million in a month from now. Yeah. It's a pretty special year for Dylan Cruz.
Hey man, if you were the Pirates, would you go with the freakish elite pitcher or the freakish elite center fielder?
This is how I broke it down. I felt like all the awards should go to a guy that has an impact on every game all year long. And Dylan Cruz, the most impressive thing with him was the on-base streak. I mean, that's almost impossible to do. What do you have, 72 walks or something for the year? The on-base percentage was near 58%. Crazy what he did. I always thought the awards should go to an everyday player. But as a first pick in the draft, 100%, I'm taking Paul Skeens. Baseball, as we saw during this College World Series play out, is all pitching. That being said, pitchers can get hurt a lot easier than position players too. And, you spend $10 million on somebody, you'd like to see them a return on your investment. So there's all kind of factors. Also, if you look at last year's 2022 draft, the first and second pick got paid almost exactly the same, which tells me that the first pick made a deal. So if this Pirate's going to reach out and say, do you want to be the first pick in the draft? All right, you're going to take this amount. And if Paul Skeens says no and Dylan Cruz says yes, then Dylan Cruz is the first pick in the draft. So that's kind of how that works too.
Or Wyatt Langford?
I like Wyatt. Look, that dude can hit, man. Now, as great as Dylan Cruz is, Wyatt Langford, I mean, he squared up 8 balls in a row. He's 5 for 5 on that Sunday game. He hits the home run to start off the game 3 on Monday. Hit a bullet right at the shortstop. His next at bat. I mean, he didn't miss the barrel in like 9 at bats in a row, and that was crazy. But he had a great year. I think Dylan's better defensively, just if for no other reason, just the eye test. They moved Dylan to center field, and then a little bit later, Florida moved Wyatt to center field, just to kind of compete with that, I think, and then just to give the pro teams a look at both players at center field to see who they'd rather have. The eye test showed me I like Dylan Cruz, but Wyatt did fine.
The money issue that you brought up is always true, and there's some school of thought that maybe Langford would be willing to take less to be the number 1 pick. So it would be a weird twist, right? But if you're talking about the 2 best players, I don't think there's any arguing. You and I agree. Skeens, Cruz, Skeens, in whatever order you take them. Hey, Todd, last thing for you, man, and everyone's kind of looking ahead now as you polish off this championship and you turn the page to the next one. Like, LSU's going to lose a ton. we know they'll have to go heavy in the portal, but is being back here next year again a realistic goal for the 2024 Tigers?
Matt, you know how this works, and I love LSU, and I wouldn't trade it if it were personally my decision. They got to go back to the transfer portal and losing a year of eligibility, because here's what's going to happen, and we already saw this. Everybody's transferring into the SEC. Pac-12 is minor leagues for the SEC, and so is everywhere else in the country. Now what's happening is it's cannibalism within the SEC. Now you're seeing Dakota Jordan, Chase Burns, some of the greatest players within the SEC wanting to transfer to the better teams in the SEC. And so now you're starting to see a thing where LSU is going to get anybody and everybody they could possibly want from here moving forward. And there's a few other schools that could probably say the same thing. The SEC's already won 5 of the last 6 national championships. You and I won't see a non-SEC champion in our lifetime. And if it happens, it'll be a unusual thing in 1 year. Baseball is a little unusual. But, man, the SEC is about to dominate if they're not already.
He is Todd Walker, SEC Network, of course, Tiger great. And, man, sincerely, thanks for all the time that you give the show throughout the season. Man, I know we lean on you a lot, but I'm always grateful when you answer and you pick up the phone and give us the insight. So thank you sincerely, man. We appreciate it.
Well, you do such a great job, Matt. And I consider you a good friend of mine. So, man, I appreciate it all as well. And, you know, once this whole season and thing closes up, I can't talk about what I love and know best the rest of the year. So I kind of have to get it all within 4 months. So this is the end of it for me, but I appreciate it.
We'll find some time to run you down in the summer, man. We'll look forward to it, all right?
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, that is the great Todd Walker, Batman. I probably said it often, but like every time I talk to Todd, I know like 12-year-old Matt just completely nerds out. I mean, completely nerds out. I mean, Todd Walker was just the coolest. Like that was my guy, right? Everybody's got it. Whoever it was for you when you were growing up. For me, it was 12, man. Long hair, the Gold Easton bat. I mean, Kenny Kleinpeter on the organ at the old box playing the Batman theme. Bro, it's T-Dub, dog. Anyway, that's when they had the old, remember they had jerseys that for a brief time in history, LSU had those the vest jerseys. They didn't have the sleeves. T-Dub rocked that. No, he did. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Got water, got mold, got odor, got other pathogens. Mold Zero safely, affordably can help you out. Yo, look, when you're talking about remediation companies, a lot of times they're spraying dangerous chemicals, not Mold Zero. This is a non-toxic, patented dry fog treatment. Quite literally, you do not have to move anything out of your home, your office, whatever. It's totally safe for pets, for plants, for your family, everybody. They'll come in, they'll spray, close up all the doors, let the spray dwell. It'll kill all the mold, kill the spores, all of that stuff. And as soon as the fog dissipates, you can go back in free and clear. Mold's killed, odors are gone. It's Mold Zero. Learn more at mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com for Mold Zero USA. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Man, what a show. Golly, you don't get to do these often. And it's been 14 years since we've gotten to do a baseball one. And we got to do a women's basketball championship show just a couple of months ago. Football, of course, in 2019. We've been blessed, man. We've been lucky and get to watch a lot of teams, not only from LSU or the New Orleans Saints. We've seen a lot of championships. But, these are fun, but you also you try not to take it for granted that you don't get to do it all the time. And, man, it's been 14 years since we got to do one of these for baseball. And it's been a lot of fun today. So, thanks to Rick Greene, closed out the 91 championship game, was with us earlier today. Charles Hanagriff was here. Doug Thompson, who closed out the 97 championship and got to call the game yesterday with his son in the booth with him, which was so cool. Gordon was in studio with us talking about buying 8,000 Jello shots. Todd Walker just there. We're not even done yet. So, we'll put a few more finishing touches on the Tigers championship when we come back, and Otter Locks will be here. Jimmy will tell us what we're betting on tonight. So we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Stick around.
AFR.
So this is an honest-to-goodness true story. As I was sitting here doing the show, I got a text from Erica, and it was at 2:23, and she said, I know you're on air, but the AC controller died. Can you please call me at your next break? She sent me a picture of the AC controller. It's blank. It's off. So anyway, she called River City's 1 hour air, and she sent me this text at 4:37 p.m. Britt from 1 Hour Air is here. He said he's a huge fan, and he's super nice, all exclamations. He said he was fired up to get the call when he found out it was the Moscona residents. But I can tell you this, Britt's got us up and running again, and we're super grateful for that. He's one of the great technicians over at River City's 1 Hour Air. We read these reviews all the time, and there's a real life one that happened at my house today. Again, I want to point out, Erica texted me at 2:23. By 4:37, within 2 hours, a technician was at our house. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the sides. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
You know, to leave LSU a national champion is something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And, you know, I'm going to remember playing with this guy and the two next to me. And it's just going to be, every time we see each other, you're going to remember the national championship.
That is Cade Beloso. What a way for Cade to go out, man. 5th year, all of the journey he went through, the success he had as a freshman coming in from John Curtis, some of the struggles that followed, losing a spot, sticking around, looking like he's going to be your opening day DH a year ago. We all know gets injured in the hype huddle, makes the decision to come back. Wasn't guaranteed anything this year, but every time he got his opportunity, man, that dude just kept on delivering. Ultimately, you just couldn't justify taking him out of the lineup. And so, as it were, in his final collegiate game, he bats leadoff, gets a couple of knocks for the Tigers, gets hit by a couple of pitches, so he's on base 4 times, and just what a great day and a great year for Cade Beloso. And, you know, it was interesting listening to Cade after the game as well. And I will tell you, I was talking to his dad, Rodney, Hot Rod. We are going to, if you missed the story, 3 years ago, Cade's dad gave me a rare bottle of whiskey. I felt bad taking it. We made a deal. Tigers win in Omaha. We'll open it together. It's been on my shelf for 3 years. He literally texted me after the game last night. It's like, a deal's a deal, bro. We opening that bottle. I'm like, all right, dude, I want to do it in studio. So I'm going to get Cade and Hot Rod in studio, the hour, whatever we'll do, and we'll tell stories, and we'll open that bottle and crack it and have a good time. So, but Cade, after the game, was also asked about Jay Johnson and sort of like the future of the program and what has not happened, but what is just getting started at LSU.
This guy he loves baseball so much, and there's not a person in the room that cares more about LSU, cares more about the game of baseball, more about people than this guy sitting to the right of me. And this program's so lucky to have Coach Jay Johnson, and they're gonna have to build a new Intimidator for what he's about to do, and he's coming. He's not stopping. I promise that. Well,
the new Intimidator is getting a facelift anyway, and that'll be unveiled tomorrow. But, the obvious question when you win one is, okay, now how are you going to get another one? And, I'll remind you that back in 2009, that was year 3 for Paul Mainieri. Paul inherited a really bad situation. There's no way around that. The Smoke Laval era had ended badly. They missed the postseason. He had stopped recruiting. They were void of talent. Let me not say that. That's disrespectful to the guys that were on those teams. My point is, they certainly did not have a roster talented enough to win a championship or compete for championships at the end of Smoke. And Paul came in and quickly turned that around. And in year 2, LSU was in Omaha. And then in year 3, they won the national championship. And no doubt the thought had to be at that point that, well, he's just getting started. This is just year 3. He's won a national championship. There's going to be many more. And they went many more times. They were 23-7 in league play in 2013. Got to Omaha. They were 2 and done. They went back 2 years later in 2015. Fell into the losers bracket. Beat Fullerton to avoid elimination. Then were eliminated. We know what happened in 2017. They made it to the championship series. And that was the last time they went under Paul Mainieri. And the point is, it's very hard. It's very hard to get there. It's harder to win when you're there. And we should never take that for granted, just how hard it is to do what this team did and what the 6 teams that had won prior had been able to do once they got to Omaha. I mean, the thing that we often forget is, Skip often said, like, he had to go 5 times before he finally won in Omaha. It's hard to do. It's very hard to do. So I think Jay Johnson will get back there and will win it again. I do. I thought the same about Paul Mainieri in 2009. And he got close, but never got over the hill. So nothing is given. But Jay Johnson was asked after LSU won the national championship about constructing this team. And it's interesting because it does give a little insight into what he's going to have to do again moving into the 2024 season.
We really had to dig our heels in. I mean, in the SEC, it happens fast. But it was a 9th place team. It was a 9th place team in 2021 in the SEC. And, we worked really, I knew there were some good young players, obviously, and we worked really hard to develop those guys. But we just didn't have enough on the mound. Like, it just, guys had been hurt. I think it was Marceau and Jaden Hill were moving on in the draft. Like, we didn't have a rotation. Like, thank God Mikhail Hilliard came back to school and flipped, 70-mile-an-hour curveballs in there, and we were able to win enough games to, have a 40-win season. But I just didn't want to be in that position, again, and felt like the pieces were here. With the position player group was a national championship team last year. I mean, it is very similar, to be honest with you. But we had to get better on the mound, and we did. And I think back of, the week the College World Series started last year.
He was talking about the week the College World, he was going on talking, and no doubt Jay has told this story before. He told it to us. And that I actually can't wait to talk to Jay whenever the next time is we get to talk to him on the air, because I know my first question is going to be. It's going to be, what did you do the night you won the national championship? Because for him, what he said always is, when the season ends, the only thing he knows to do is to start working on the next year. And so last year when they lost in Hattiesburg, he told this story here, and he's told it a bunch of places, but when they lost in Hattiesburg last year, he went back to his hotel room and immediately opened up the transfer portal and saw Paul Skeens had gone into the portal. And that is immediately when he reached out, like in his hotel room in Hattiesburg after they were eliminated. So think about what you're about to lose. Just on the mound, you're going to lose Paul Skeens. Garrett Edwards is likely going to sign. Chase Shores had Tommy John and probably is going to be available next year. Nate Ackenhausen's a junior. He could be gone. Ty Floyd's going to be gone. Riley Cooper's a junior. He could be gone. Blake Money certainly will go as well. Christian Little likely will get drafted and will go. He'll be drafted based on potential and understanding that he didn't have much of a role near the end of this year. Will likely sign and be encouraged to do so. I mean, think about all that you're going to lose from this staff, all the production you're going to lose from this staff. What happens with Grant Taylor? Big question, obviously, but they're going to have to go attack the portal again on the mound the same way they did this year. Yes, you're going to have to develop some guys. How does Javen Coleman look next year? We all know that you're going to get Thatcher Hurd back, which is awesome. Do you have some of the other guys who, I mentioned Chase Shores. That's certainly going to be an interesting one. Grant Taylor is going to be a fascinating test case to see if he comes back and pitches his junior year, or does he sign as a draft-eligible sophomore? There's some of those questions, but, I mean, you're losing most of your production on the mound this year. Even just if you start with Skeens Floyd, that alone is a devastating blow to this team. So he's going to have to go rebuild it again. And it's kind of how he did it last year. My guess is he's probably already started. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. We got Jimmy Ott coming up for Otter Locks. So we'll find out from the Otter what we're betting on tonight. No doubt we'll have a few MLB plays. But I always love telling you about our friends at South Point Volkswagen. This week we launched on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Volkswagen there in Southwest Louisiana. But South Point Volkswagen is on Airline Highway just north of Highland, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, and they got more inventory on the way. Go to the website. You can see it right there. Big banner as it rotates. You can learn about the ID4, which is the all-electric SUV from South Point Volkswagen. The 2022 Volkswagen Taos is a family size, or a small size, SUV. You can check it out. Great deals right now on Atlas and Cross Sport. I drive an Atlas Cross Sport. If you want to check it out, you can at SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. For South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We're going to knock out our final break. We'll come back, talk to Jimmy Ott, find out what we're betting on tonight. Tigers are national champs. We appreciate y'all for being here. We have just been wall-to-wall baseball here on our lineup all day. So if you missed anything, you can always check it out on demand at 1045ESPN.com, of course, on the 1045ESPN YouTube channel. If you want to check out any of our videos there, we appreciate y'all for being here with us. Okay, final break of the show. And when we come back, Jimmy Ott will be here for a little Otter Lock. Stick around.
AFR.
Man, every day I love telling you about the Renaissance Hotel, and I tell you about Tallulah, the restaurant inside of the Renaissance Hotel when I do. So tomorrow or at some point this week, it's inevitable. You're going to have a business lunch, and you're going to have it scheduled, and then you're going to make the call and say, where do y'all want to go? And you're going to go this round and round. Where are you? What part of town? You want to come to me? Go to you. Go to Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Just try it. First of all, it's convenient. Everybody can get anywhere in town by starting on I-10, and Bluebonnet is a major thoroughfare, so Bluebonnet and I-10 is where you find the Renaissance. So it's convenient for anybody to get to, number one. Number two, the food is delicious. I mean, it is a chef-curated menu, but it's casual, upscale dining. So you can eat great, affordably at Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Indoor and patio dining is available as well on their terrace. Check it out. The next time you're going to have a business lunch or a night on the town, make it Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Oddfather himself, Jimmy Otter. How are you?
Hanny report. Delayed flight going into St. Louis. Got 15 minutes to make this connecting flight. But since there are 80 people that are flying to New Orleans as well on that plane, they're going to hold it up for him.
Okay. Fantastic news.
Everything working out for the handyman on the way back, huh?
Very glad to hear that. He was with us at 4 o'clock, and he was sweating the connection. So thankfully, it's going to work out.
Yes, indeed. Got 3 for you in the MLB tonight.
All right.
First, we're gonna go the first 5 in Philadelphia and Chicago. First 5 because Ranger Suarez all of a sudden has put together 5 straight really good performances. How good? He's lowered his ERA, Matt, from 9.82 to 3.5 over those 5 starts. Italian for the Cubs has been the weakest starter. So the Cubs have been feisty. They may try and come back in the later innings, but when it's these 2 pitchers, we're going Suarez at a modest price at DraftKings is your best number, minus 125.
All right.
Phillies first 5. Milwaukee is 4 games over 500. The Mets are 8 games under 500. Milwaukee has a pitcher that has been excellent this year, Julio Teheran, the former Brave, in only 6 starts. He's averaging 6 innings and 1 earned run per start. The Mets, Peterson has been a gas can. Why are the Mets favored here? I don't know. Maybe they have a larger payroll. Regardless, Teheran plus $1.25. Just don't know why they're the underdogs on that one. So Milwaukee, the Brewers plus 25, won by 1 run last night. And Arizona, Zach Gallen has been outstanding. Minus 130 is the best number at Bet Rivers right now. Rays have been outstanding, best record overall, but only 3 games above 500 on the road, 20-17 in the desert in Phoenix. On this one, give us Arizona minus 130 with Zach Gallen.
All right. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny coming up tomorrow, 11 to 1. Hanny will be back, thankfully. Where are y'all going to be?
At full strength at Snow's Seafood and Steak. And so, yes, we go. Glad to have him back. So, I was there for 9 shows. He was there for 12, and so I think that extra 3 kind of added a little. But I'm an older gentleman now, Matthew.
Otter, I'm glad you made it back. I'm glad that the Tigers won. We appreciate it. We'll look for you tomorrow.
See you, Matt.
All right, man. We'll see you. It's After Further Review, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, Lafayette Clinic for our Lafayette listeners on Ambassador Caffrey. Check them out. Laser hair removal special all this month. Buy 4 treatments, get 2 free. You've got 3 days left to take advantage. Theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. All right, it's going to do it for us here on a Tuesday show. Alondra Pauly, thanks so much. Congrats to the Tigers, the national champs. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Michele weighing in. Measurement, Michele.com with 30 different offices across 11 different states. Our friends at Michele congratulate the Tigers on their national championship. Like I've mentioned many times before, Michele is a great LSU baseball family as well. Joel McMullen, president and CEO, his son Sean McMullen was a designated hitter and outfielder on the 2013 LSU team that was 23-7 in conference play and went to the College World Series. So congrats from our friends at Michele to the national championship winning Tigers. Michele weighing and measurement. If you weigh or measure something, Michele will sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure, and so much of it is just about making you more efficient. So you can always go to the website. You can look up their services, the products they offer, ISO 17025 accreditation available, and like I mentioned every day, if you want a career instead of a job, check them out. Hit the careers tab at the top of the page at Michele.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street. The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.